I'm recording this stuff, but how y'all doing today? Yo. No one? No, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. But I know one of my homegirls is in here, so I'm just going to give them a little bit second to get settled and whatnot. So it's all to the good. But for people who are already here, welcome. This is version 1.0 of Kicking Game. My name is Rob. As you may know, I'm a Tufts Alumni. And because we don't have a whole lot to do outside of staring at walls, we're here. No, jokes. I want to help you. I want to make sure that y'all have the best step up from Tufts. And one of the best things you could gain from Tufts is that connection and knowledge of, hey, you have alumni that are willing to help you out on a regular basis, so that, yes, homegirl is in the building. I love it.
I'm having some tech issues. I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right. Listen, people, my fellow Tufts people, I want y'all to introduce Kayla. You know what you were talking about, right? While you were in international relations and Africana studies, right? This woman right here on video was you when I was at school. So let me introduce you to illustrious Jessica Wilson hyphen Jones. Okay, she kept the name. So
Sorry, everyone.
Jessica, when I was at school, Jessica was the student, like one of the student leaders. Like, she had up a whole lot of stuff. Didn't you do like global leadership or some shit, Jessica?
Sure, Rob. Sure.
Listen. I respect this woman a whole hell of a lot because because for the roughneck that I am, she was the exact opposite. And I respect her for doing what she does, because she provided a great face for the class of 2014, and that's why I appreciate her to this day. I'll stop talking. You can introduce yourself, Jessica.
No, I mean, if anything, can you all introduce yourselves first before I jump in, just so I know who's on who's on?
Hey. They got a lot of people who want to listen in, and that's cool. So, hey.
Okay.
There's a whole video.
That whole ass video, Dom. I got another illustrious female woman of the 2014 class, Dominique Bannerman. Okay.
Oh no.
Dominique was part of the Tufts Envy dance crew, as well as ASO, I believe. No, not ASO. It was, what was the name of the dance group? I forget.
Easy. Now it's Coco.
What was the name of that dance group? It was an African dance group. I forget what it was actually called, but she was a part of it, and I believe it. And she did a whole hell of a lot, man. And above all else, Dom was a community gal. Like, she was Dominique was a individual who everyone respected, everyone looked out to her. She knew everyone in the black community, or the majority of the people in the black community, and it was pretty dope. All right, so bass A, you can't hear anything. Jessica, you can't hear anything. You can't figure out the sound. Try calling the dial.
I dialed in.
You found it. All right, cooking with gas. Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Dom, we can hear you.
Okay.
How are you, Dom?
I'm good.
Good.
Don't mind me. I'm about to tear up some steak. I might mute myself for a little bit.
I know I caught you at lunchtime, so don't worry about it. Don't worry. Okay. All right, so Dom, you want to give yourself a brief rundown on who you are, apparently? Because I tried being the hype man, but I don't know if I'm doing it justice.
You did a good job. Yeah. I'm Dom. Nice
That's
to meet
it?
you, ladies. How are you guys doing in this social dampering time? I can't hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Doing pretty okay.
Doing
Okay.
okay.
Are you guys doing online classes right now?
Yes.
Boo. But I mean, I guess pay for that education. Get that education
Hello?
that you pay for.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Well, welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'll just bring my
We're working it out. We're working it out. It's the first go around. Okay, it'll get a bit cleaner afterwards, but hey, it's going well.
What have you guys been discussing so far?
We are basically shooting the shit because we're just waiting for people to get settled. You know, get their audio right, get the video right, figure out what they want to talk about or what they want to talk at all. If y'all don't want to talk, that's cool. But hey, we'll get started in about 2 minutes. Give a few more people a chance to join and get settled. We got 2 alumni here, in addition to myself, the old man. We got the illustrious Jessica Wilson Jones. Don't disrespect the name. And then we also have Dominique Bannerman, both in my class of 2014.
Cool.
Yeah, and I was a psychology major. I forget the majors of Dom and Jessica, but they can speak for themselves better than I can. So I'll just let them go with it.
Okay.
Dom,
Well, Dom, go for it.
I
you
was
want to
a
introduce
major.
yourself?
What happened?
Robin,
Thank you.
introduce yourself.
Okay, my name's Dominique, class of 2014. Former Envy lady and ADC dancer.
That's what it is.
Yeah, ADC African Dance Collective, which is now Coco. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I also did Jumpstart for my 4 years there. That was a big commitment. I loved it. It did teach me a lot of things about myself and about like kids, so it was a good experience. Tufts was a very interesting place in terms of the social aspect, in terms of the academic aspect. So, I mean, it's quite different now what I'm hearing from some of you younger guys, but I'm interested in figuring out how it is different
Okay.
and what we can do to potentially bring you back to the glory days.
The glory days.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, we're not going to say that we had glory days, but because we thought that Tufts was whack even when we were here. Okay, but I'm going to say that it seems to be on a sliding scale downwards. So we're just trying to change that up if possible. And I think it is possible. That's why we're here. Jessica, can you go and tell us about your majors and all the stuff you did at school? But keep it brief because we only have about an hour and a half.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica. I was class of 2014. I studied international relations and Arabic language, double majored. At Tufts, I was involved in EBL, president of EBL for 2 years, and worked with the Institute of Global Leadership, part of the Muslim Student Association, so all kinds of stuff across campus. Our class was very special. It was a fairly tight-knit community, so it's really interesting to hear how you all are doing now, and really this is your time, so share with us feedback that you have and let us know how we can help navigate the experience there. Tufts is one of those places where it's super sweet, great education, great opportunity, but it can be a really challenging place to navigate. We're here for you guys.
Okay. Who is All right, someone needs to turn down their speaker. I don't know who it is, but let's turn down the speaker a little bit just so that the speaker who is actually speaking in the conference can hear themselves. But so please, whoever is, can we turn down the speakers a little bit just so that we can hear each other talk / think? I do appreciate that. Now I'll ask: are there any other alumni in the chat right now or in the room right now? Because if there are, I want y'all to get your shine, because this is the time. We're here for the young ones. Let's make this happen. Otherwise, if not, then we'll just get rolling with the questions.
Yeah, I'm also an alumni. My name's Fatima Jose. I'm a class of 2018 though.
Hey.
And I majored in community health and Africana studies. I was involved in Senate as an Africana rep. I was TISH scholar, just Africana peer advisor, all of that stuff.
Okay, so she was about it. There we go. Hey, Fatima getting some praise in the chat. Damn, I couldn't get nothing. Dom couldn't get nothing, but Fatima, all right, I see you. We got some supporters out here. I like it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca. I was a class of 2018, president of ASO, president of co-captain of COCO, which was formerly known as ABC, and a peer leader. I know there are a couple of peer leaders in here for 2 years as well. So hello, everyone. I was in international relations, and I was an international relations major with a minor in ELS, which is, I don't know if it was around. It's a relatively new minor, entrepreneurial leadership studies, and I also work in recruiting currently. So if anybody needs a job, y'all can hit me up after.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. All right? But so we're gonna hit Bex up. All right, got you. All right, who's next from the alumni? Do we got any other alumni in the room aside from Fatima and Bex? Nah, no alumni. All right, that's cool. All right, so let's start here. I got a few questions. You know, we'll take probably 3 minutes to 5 minutes per alumni, just to elaborate on the questions. So, question number 1: who were you at Tufts? Describing your experience, like the thoughts going into freshman year, your cliques, just a synopsis of who you were at Tufts throughout your 4 years, and it could be as narrow or as broad as you want to be. This is time for you to stay on your soapbox and talk your shit. So we'll start with Bex.
Hello?
Hello, how we doing?
Good. I thought
good. I'm Mohammed, by the way.
Mohammed, okay. Class of, or you current student?
2020. Or 2022, oops.
Mohammed, 2022. Mohammed,
yeah.
Thank you for coming through, my good brother. Now, we got one illustrious alumni by the name of Bex that's going to tell us about her experience at Tufts, and then we're going to build off of that. So, Bex, you got the floor.
I'll be very brief because I'm really interested to see about people who are currently there or what their experience is currently. I lived in the Africana Center for 3 years. I think my experience will be a little different because most people can't live there for more than 2, but I did. I went to Tufts in Ghana, I went abroad, and I came back to live in Capen. So I lived there all after freshman year. And so I think my class was super interesting. We were kind of a class that our motto was just to get shit done. Like whatever we wanted to do. Oh, is there an echo? If everyone could just mute themselves real quick.
Mute yourself if possible, okay? Mute yourself if possible so that we can keep the flow going. Go ahead, Bex.
Yeah, speaking quickly to my class and my community, I think we were, most of us, I'll speak only on from my perspective, I can say in all of my e-boards, I think the most effective people were Black women putting in the work on e-boards and getting stuff done as it came to like even throwing parties or mobilizing, or we had the 3% movement. So I'll let people who were actually like, integral into that movement speak on it. I was not. But in terms of demands about having a Black therapist, a Black counselor on campus, In terms of like social life, I think we were close knit in the terms that we pretty much knew who everybody was, but not necessarily like everyone was buddy, and I think we were all pretty much fine with that. Like we knew when to reach out and who to reach out to. I think that's, as a peer leader, that's all that I can do, is make sure that you know that I'm here and I'm available.
All right, thank you, Bex. Thank you. Now, next up, Fatima, Miss Ajose, go for it.
Yeah, I think similar to Rebecca, I didn't live all 3 years in the Africana Center. I lived in the Africana Center for 1.5 years, so after coming back from studying abroad in Ghana with Rebecca and some of the other black women. But on campus, I guess more so using whatever positions I did have to try and solve some problems that were going on and stuff. So in terms of Senate, kind of leveraging that position when it came to the 3% movement and stuff, I was a part of that. Also, a lot of black women specifically who were in the class of 2019, like Angelique and Kayla and Mona, who were a part of the 3% movement and stuff. I don't know if they're on the call, but I would like to acknowledge that. And then also in terms of getting Blackout and Envy practice space when it came to the dance studios and stuff like that, so they wouldn't have to be practicing on floors and stuff that weren't good for like their knees and things like that. So just like leveraging whatever position I had to try and solve some solutions that the community was facing, as well as trying to create some more social events with Rebecca and some other people when it comes to like Trap Fest and things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Miss Ajose. Now, Dom, go for it.
Hold on, guys.
Oh, my bad. You eating, my bad.
As I prefaced, I was eating my steak. Don't worry if you're sleeping in there. Just let me know. Don't be fake. Let me know. While I was there, like I said, I did have an active role in Jumpstart throughout my 4 years. I was a part of what's it called? Carol Baffy Dugan's Health Careers Fellows Advisory Group. So like there were a few times that I did go to like MAP symposiums and all of that. Socially, I feel as though I was a butterfly. I float. I had like a core group of friends, but at the same time, I didn't live in Capen at all. I did also sometimes live in buildings by myself when all of my friends would be across campus. So it gave me an opportunity to get to know my other peers, my non-black peers. But I mean, I'm the kind of girl that I lived on the guy side of Carm at one point. So I had the guy's bathroom literally right across my door. I'd see shirtless black girls all day, every day, walking back and forth. And I was cool with them, but I mean, of course, the most comforting group that I found to be around was my fellow Africana people. So, it was a nice, switch up. Every so often, I get a little funny. I don't want to always be around the same people. Sometimes you need to just switch it up, So, yeah, that's my social life. I did a lot of, chilling in Capen. I did a lot of, hanging out in the campus center, Calm Lounge, or, just congregating in people's rooms, playing sardines in Lewis Hall. That was fun. If you guys get a chance, you should definitely do that. Lewis is huge, and it's best to do it when most people are off campus. But yeah, shenanigans.
All right, respect that. And there was not nary a piece of steak in your mouth, so you're doing great, Dom. Doing great.
Now let me eating my steak.
Miss Jones, let's hear it. Nah, no, Miss Jones. Okay, Miss Wilson, Miss Jessica Wilson Jones. Try to be respectful. Nah.
Can you guys hear me?
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jess. I got you. So what's up?
Cool. So I'm going to second a lot of what Dominique said. I mean, our class had a very tight-knit community. I mean, I had my core group of friends, but also just socialized across campus. So in terms of activities on campus, like I said, I'm president of EBL, Emerging Black Leaders, for a couple of years. ICL, Institute for Global Leadership, also was in the Entrepreneurial Leadership Program. So what I realized with Tufts, and I was an RA, so I always lived in a dorm with the freshmen, which actually was a really great opportunity to see some of the shifts and changes that were happening even while we were on campus. But what I realized about Tufts is that it's no different really than a lot of other campuses, at least in the Northeast. I'm from San Diego originally, so I can't compare it to California, but every friend that I talk to, whether they're at Harvard or MIT or BU or BC, the challenges are there. And so with, we'll go later and talk more in detail later, and I want to hear your feedback, but it really is one of those places that you could pull out of it strings of opportunities, but you do need a support network. So there needs to be a core group of people that are there to nurture you and take care of you at the same time.
Feel that. So to end the alumni right currently, or the ones I know in the room, my name is Rob. I was part of the football team. I was the quintessential athlete. I partied with the football team, soccer team, baseball. I was associated with DU. I won't say I was part with DU, but I was associated with DU because I had a bunch of friends who were in the frat. I went to the frat constantly. Sometimes I was able to get Jessica and Dom into the parties. Sometimes they didn't need my help. I was a party guy. I was trying to get the maximum out of college as far as like just having fun and partying and whatnot. And because I was an athlete, it gave me the natural cross-pollination of knowing, like, oh, I have my black friends over here, and I also have my athlete friends over here. And it gave me a group that made things stable for me when I was a freshman and sophomore. I initially only hung out with athletes, and then I started branching out to knowing other people in the Africana in the black community at Tufts in freshman, like fall and spring, because like even though I'm with the team with people and they're supposed to be your brothers in the struggle, they don't look like me, right? So I hang out with the people who look like me, but then now I want to know who else is here, because this is a big campus. I want to understand where we play and where our collective minds are at. So in the grand scheme of things, I have my fun. I was a psychology dude. I was a social psychology dude, and even though that doesn't pay dividends out in the real world, I appreciate that I had the ability to do that at school, because it gave me a whole lot of insight for things that I wouldn't even know I needed moving forward into the real world. So I have my fun. I lived in the Dirty Lou for freshman and sophomore year. I'm a downhill guy through and through. Junior year and senior year, I had my own spot. It was called 106 Bromfield Road. Back then, we only had to pay like $750 for rent. I know it's $1,000 now per roof. So I with a couple of other dudes created essentially the black off-campus party house on campus, and basically anyone who wanted to cut loose or hang out could immediately just swing by the house and just kick it with us, and we wouldn't give a shit. We had drinks on hand, we had cable TV, we had Walking Dead Sundays, we had hookah, blow it down every other weekend. Listen, Jessica's shaking her head because she was we had a ball, and I want to re-emphasize that what Dom and Jess were talking about, we really did have that. We had a community where everyone would fool around, but we still had our core group of individuals. you know. And even though we may not mess with each other on a regular basis, we still have the respect for each other so that we could, you know, go out and talk to each other and make things happen on a group level. And that's what I treasured about my class, and that's why I helped try to pass down to the immediate classes after us. And that's why I'm trying to get this going so I could try to help reinvigorate that type of mentality in the current students here. And I know that you got to try it, and I understand that, and I applaud you for doing that. I just want to give y'all an alumni boost to try to get this done. So, thank you for the answers for question number one. Number two, is 50 going to be for me, Dom, and Jess?
Wait.
Wait.
Can I add something in there?
Please.
Let the record show that my senior year, I lived in a suite in Sogo West. West Tour. We, the ladies that lived in the suite, called ourselves Yachi Judo, and we threw the best parties
Bullshit.
on campus.
Bullshit.
Rob your bias.
And you're not?
I'll leave the opinionating to Jessica. Jessica, I would like to know your opinion.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Who's were better?
Don't do that.
The party was so lit, the fire alarm went off.
Dominique's apartment had like the best setup. I will say that. But Rob, you guys had the best. Like that punch was unreal. So
see,
I don't know.
We didn't even supply the liquor, but our parties were so lit.
Yeah, because
by default, our parties are way better.
You gonna do that? You gonna do that? Oh, by default, your parties. Listen, we're not. That's in the past. We're just old heads talking about this. That's in the past. All right. Let's move on. we're here for the children, guys. You gotta focus. All right. So after graduating Tufts, for my four other alumni, what was the real world like? Let's start out. So I'll start because I went last. So when after graduating, you know, I went through. I'll be honest. I went through a relapse where like I realized I'm not with my friends. All my friends are gone. No one's hitting my phone anymore. I can't go see someone readily. Half my friends are either across the country or at least an hour and a half away. You know.
Yeah.
Now, like people know the struggle. So like now, I'm trying to figure out. Oh well, who's still in town? First off, I try to hit up who's in town. Oh, let's hang out on the weekend. Wait, I gotta make sure that I leave my house and then get there early enough, find some parking, and then go to the bar, pay for drinks, and then hope to have a good interaction with one individual. Literally 6 months prior, I had everyone I needed all in one little bubble, and we could go to DeWick or Carmichael for the weird people and just hang out. So it was jarring in that aspect. And yes, I did sneak this Carmichael because I'm a downhill person, so I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna stay consistent. So for me, I did have to move back home because I'm a Masshole. I'm from Massachusetts. Tufts was literally a mile away from my original house. I moved up north. I had to move back home up north, where it's just nowhere suburbia, and it was just jarring. Like I said, it was jarring because I didn't have my friends. And above all else, I couldn't see people who looked like me who weren't my family on a regular basis, and that really did fuck with me, honestly, because I missed my people. I had to reel back all my social interaction. I had to, censor and find myself, and I had to realize what do I value, and from going from what do I value, then it went to how can I affect change in the ways I want to, and here we are. So let's go next to Jess. How was life after Tufts?
Well, agree with all that you're saying, that there's definitely a period of time where things transition. After graduating, I went back home to San Diego and worked there for a bit, and then bounced back to D.C., which is where I'm working now. I mean, you have to actively keep in touch with people, otherwise it gets really hard. Like, you can't just run into them or be like, oh, let's grab dinner together. You really have to make the time, and I'll be completely honest, like, I am awful at it. It's really difficult for me, at least, to keep in touch, just because life gets busy. I mean, we're in a cocoon when we're at Tufts, and, like, it can be a lot, but all you're focused on is school. And when you're out working full-time, you're working and you have family and you have other sort of responsibilities, and so it can be really difficult to sort of maintain that connection with folks. And so that's something that I would say during your time there, like, totally relish it and establish those relationships, and just know that when we do graduate, you know, things look different and feel different. It doesn't mean that you still can't do as much as you can to keep in touch with folks.
Oh. All right. Next up is Dom.
It was culture shock. I mean, you're literally on campus 4 years with your BFFs, and you're all around young people all the time, and y'all are all in the same mind. It's work and school grind and social life grind, and don't sleep and party, and then crash, and then get drunk, and then do it again. And, you know, like, it's not a bonnet, Rob. Don't be rude. Go away. It's the head tie. My hair is out. Yeah, no, and then when you get to the real world, then this thing called adulting happens, and then you have to deal with your family, you have to deal with your work, you have to deal with, like, being tired after working a full day's work, you have to deal with bills and student loans, and those things are very real, and they're very jarring sometimes. It was hard to adjust.
Can you just like
What's up? You're all right there?
Can everybody please go on mute unless this is being?
Yeah.
There's a lot of background noise.
There's a lot of background noise. Let's mute the audio unless it's your turn, all right? Because, like, you know, we're trying to hear people, and we're here for y'all, but y'all can't. If y'all can't hear us, how can we be here for you? Understand?
Yeah,
all right, go ahead, Dom. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So, I mean, Rob's one of those friends who was nearby, so I would go see Rob every so often. But, you know, like, what I would suggest is, yeah, your friends might travel back to their homes, and, you know, they might be far, but I'd encourage you guys, like, keep in touch if you can, because there's nothing like building a bond over 4 years, and then as soon as you leave campus, then boom, it's gone, you know? Like, were they really your friend? Like, or you'll have the friends that you can go without talking to them for a good 6 months, and then as soon as you message them, it's like you pick up right back where you left off. So, I mean, it's understanding that balance and not feeling like you owe yourself necessarily to others. You know, you have to do that. You have to figure out where you lie, what your priorities are. You have to rearrange your priorities. You have to set your expectations for yourself and to your friends. You know, they need to know what's going on with you, you know. Just because you saw somebody every day doesn't mean you have to talk to them every day, you know. But I think that once you figure it out, then you find like a golden spot. For me, I'm still trying to figure out this higher ed process. I'm still trying to get back in, and, you know, so it's still a real thing, you know. It's not everybody that goes straight from undergrad into a graduate program. Sometimes you need a few years to recollect, regroup, reset yourself, and then jump back in it, you know. So your story will be different from your friend's story, but it's okay. And as long as you have a group of friends that really encourages you and pushes you to do the best that you can, that's really what matters. So figure out who those friends are, and hold on to them very tightly. And even if it is their chapter to let you go, then send them off with best wishes, you know.
Mature
Mature as hell.
Grown as
God.
I like it.
I like
There you
it.
go.
There you go.
All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Miss Bex. How was the real world after graduating?
It was an interesting transition. I would definitely agree with a lot of what you guys already said. And I would also encourage people, if you, underclassmen who have questions, to just drop them in the chat so I know, like, what I need to be touching on or what all of us should be touching on when we talk about our issues. I think I had a little bit, definitely post-grad blues, because while I was at Tufts, I was working 3 jobs, so it wasn't even like working the real life, like working a full-time job wasn't even an issue for me. It was that while I was at Tufts, it was like I only really had one goal, which was to graduate. And then once you graduate, it's like, okay, what's next for me, especially as an international relations major. I found out junior spring I really didn't want to do my major anymore, but I still had to graduate. So it was also transitioning into, okay, well, you wanted to get a degree to make money, and now you don't want to make money with your degree. So how do you navigate life like that? Because I feel like as students, a lot of us as Black students, your parents are telling you, you know, don't go to college for the arts. Go to college for something where you can make money at, and then you graduate and you realize that, you know, I don't want to suffer and do something that I hate for the rest of my life. At the end of the day, your life is your own. So, and I'm still working that out now. I work in recruiting. I'm still facing that every day, the challenge of, you know, loving what you do and doing what you love. And that's something that I think a lot of people still struggle with. I'm still struggling with. But I think out of college, at Tufts, you are who you are in the context of Tufts. And when you graduate, you are who you are in the context of a new environment. And so figuring out how that plays out. And that's also happening at the same time to all of your friends you knew at Tufts. Like your friend A at Tufts might not be friend A in their own home. It's a different version that you're seeing. So just sort of reacclimating yourself, to your environment, and to your friend groups. Like, if your real friends are still going to be your real friends, regardless, I think so. So, and if they drift away, it was for reasons that were already present while you were still at college, and you probably chose to ignore it, or they just didn't present themselves. But yeah, I think that was my biggest hurdle.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Bex. Now, Miss Ajose, tell us.
Yeah, after graduating Tufts, I actually went straight into grad school. So I'm actually graduating grad school this semester. So it's a bit different since I didn't fully enter like the real world yet. It's a different version of the real world when you're a graduate student, because you're still doing school. It's just on a different level, and you have like obviously still thinking about life in the grander scheme and stuff. But it's definitely difficult because I didn't go to Tufts for graduate school or anywhere in Boston. I'm out in Michigan now, so I was like far removed from where everybody else was going post-grad and stuff. So definitely reiterating the fact that you have to make real initiatives to stay in contact with people. We would do like bi-weekly phone calls, WhatsApp group chats, things like that, and just taking that initiative. But I do think it's kind of like, I guess, knowing where you want to go next. It's good if what you did in undergrad is kind of what you want to do in life and like can take that to your next step for grad school or whatever. But I do think there is obviously some like soul searching a little bit if you're trying to think of changing career paths, what you're going to do long term.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Ajose. Now, we have 2 new alumni in the building. First off, Mr. Steven Stivers. Can you unmute your mic and just tell us briefly about yourself, Tufts, and how your experience was after leaving Tufts?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So it's not you, but the last name is Stivers. I appreciate it.
I got you. I need that check. Hey,
no, it's fine. It's fine. I appreciate it.
Steel sharpens steel. Never forget that. All right. So go ahead, Mr. Stivers.
No problem. Thank you. So yeah. So I'm glad to be here. Good to hear Bex's voice as well as Fatima's voice. But yeah. So I graduated in the summer of 2018. I bombed the class my last semester, but it's okay. We still rise. let's see. I worked at Tufts for another year after I graduated, so it was like a weird period for me. And I think I didn't do like most people, so like when I graduated, I was still around a lot of people that were still at Tufts. So in some ways, I felt like I was still there, but in other ways, I knew I wasn't because I had already graduated. So like some of the folks who are like seniors right now still know who I am. Some juniors, maybe some sophomores. It just depends on who they are. But I'm currently I moved back home to Kentucky. I'm working at a commercial real estate company. It has nothing to do with my major. I like switched my major from child development to computer science my sophomore spring, so basically at the last minute. And I realized like a year into it, I didn't want to do it. So now it's like really figuring out what I want to do. I know that was definitely one of the things that I really tried to grapple with, was just, what do I actually want to do? Because I'm not sure if everyone else is having the same experience as me, but I feel like I can see myself doing a number of different things. So it's just taking the time to actually figure out what I want to do, and, you know, instead of, you know, just jumping from one thing to another, staying in one place and, you know, trying to pay my bills, do what I need to do, while also figuring out what my life path is going to be. So, yeah, it's a little bit about me.
Oh, okay, Mr. Stivers.
You done did it again.
Hey, I'm going to get it right.
All right, I appreciate it.
Forgive me. And then I have my homie, the illustrious Kayla Forey of Class of 14. She's also in the room. Kayla, are you here? Talk to us, please.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. So, sorry I was late, apologies. But I think for me, when I graduated, it was challenging because what I thought I wanted to do and what I had studied is not ultimately what worked best for me. And I think it was very hard for me to accept that, because I kind of went into Tufts. I went in before going to Tufts, you know, for years and years and years, wanting to be a lawyer, wanting to be in international courts, studied international relations. That was kind of my plan since I was probably like 11 or so. Like, I really wanted to do that, and I was kind of gunning for that academically. And that's why I was an international relations major, and I doubled with Spanish. And I think the more I was in D.C., the more I did internships, the more I realized that world was just, like, not for me. And the bureaucracy of it all was, like, kind of a lot and frustrating. And so I think for me that was, like, a really challenging time, the summer after graduation, because what I had thought I wanted to do for a very long period of my life was not actually what brought me joy or anything, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so it was very much in this, like, limbo of, like, what happened. And I think similar to what others have expressed, it's kind of challenging when you go back home and you're going somewhere that's farther away from where all your friends from college are. Like, I live in California, you know, Tufts is in Boston, like, that's so far. But on top of that, my parents moved, so I wasn't even around the friends I had from high school anymore. And so I remember feeling pretty isolated the first several months and just, like, confused about what to do. And I was applying for all these jobs at law firms, even though I was pretty sure, like, that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I actually am I mean, like, similar people here, I think it's, like, the balancing of what you want to do, what you thought you wanted, like, where the interests, how do you do things that bring you joy. It's hard to figure that out, but I would say that the best thing you can do is to just start doing things, because once you realize, like, what you don't like, I think that at least gives you direction in terms of what you can check off or what you don't want to do. And I think that's almost as valuable as knowing as what you want to do, as being able to, like, firmly say no to something. So I ended up actually working in West Africa in Capen, which was, like, not what I originally thought I would have ever done. But I ended up being there for about 2 years, and I worked with, it was an ethical fashion brand that kind of had a lot of the ethos and ideals of what I studied as someone who was looking at international development. And so that felt right. I was becoming more interested in style and like making my own outfits and things while I was living out there. And I think it kind of like merged into this opportunity that allowed me to find a lot of different strengths I didn't know I had. Like I didn't think of myself as being particularly creative or being someone that would be bold, I guess. And then I think I was kind of thrust into the situation that forced me to do that. And then I figured out, like, oh, there's a lot of roles and there's a lot of jobs that have nothing to do with, like, what I was, like, so tunnel vision focused on for much of my life. And then I think that kind of led me to a lot of other opportunities and meeting new people, and your relationships at Tufts really, really matter. Just as a last point, and I'm talking about, I had so many friends at Tufts that really, really were there for me in a way that I would have never expected them to be. Years after graduation, couple months after graduation, people who would house me when I was in New York. Sorry, I keep muting myself. So people who would house me when I was in New York, sometimes for extended periods of time, people who would take a look at my resume, people who would, you know, if I was on a trip for work and I didn't know anything, I didn't know anyone, I could reach out to people in, like, London, in Spain, like, literally everywhere in the world, and there would be a tough 2014 person who would show me where to go eat, show me how to have a good time, help me feel like I could be acclimated in this place. Like, there was just, and there was often people that weren't my closest friends. And so I think that's something to just, like, keep in mind is, like, you don't know where the world's going to take you, and you don't know, and it's the same for all your friends at Tufts and all the students, and you never know, like, when suddenly that one person that you had that one Spanish class with freshman year becomes your homie who's, like, showing you around Spain, and you're just kind of like, oh, I never would have thought this, but, like, it's happening. So I just think it's good to stay in touch with people and always, like, be as friendly as possible, because, like, 2, 3, 4 years from now, like, you might be working on the same project, you might run into each other at a conference, you know, you might need to crash. Like, that's real, and it happens, and I feel like my Tufts friends have really been there for me in a way that I wasn't expecting, and I'm really grateful for that.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, I have to, because she's part of my class, I am biased. Therefore, I'm going to pick her up. Kayla, or as I affectionately call her, Shu, because it is Kayla Sapatafori. Here's the thing. Kayla was trying to be an Olympic speed skater when she was in school. And then she switched from that to fashion to now being the pulse of the people working at IG over in California. So she's about it, okay? So when Dom is saying this is real life goals, listen, this is in the flesh right here. She's being modest and whatnot, but that's what I'm here for. I'm the boisterous one. I'm the one with the beard. I'm here just to let these ladies shine, all right? You
should do my performance cycle reviews. You should vouch me when it's time to get a comp check. I need to bring you.
Listen, everyone needs a hype man, okay? Everyone needs a hype man. Everyone needs someone who's willing to pick them up, and that's something that is always needed in real life, and I am glad I get to play the position, because one of the things when it comes to just in the real world is that in Tufts, you start to understand in the better context in like the realm of young adults how to play a position. But in the real world, now you're being delegated to a position. But in the real world, you also get to choose what your position is. Same goes for when you're at Tufts. You are delegated to a position, but you get to choose what your position is. So you can choose what you want to do and how you want to affect the people. But you just have to make sure that when you do it all the way. So when I'm extra, I'm going to be all the way extra, because I know that, you know, I can't come like half-assed. This like it needs to be y'all need to feel it. You know what I mean? Y'all need to feel what I'm talking about when I'm trying to big up my ladies. Okay? So let's see here. a few questions in the chat. So let's go first off with parties and events. Now, I'll say this for me. I created a particular circumstance for myself. So to be clear, the question is parties and events. How can us as alumni assist the current students in facilitating better social interaction between students at nighttime, let's say. So my opinion, I'll keep mine short. My opinion is this: when I was at school, like because we had our small groups and we had our small cliques, but we were still intertwined to an extent. We had certain areas around campus. You know, I had my off-campus house. So if anyone wanted to anyone wanted to smoke weed, or anyone wanted to drink, or anyone wanted to do hookah, or anyone wanted to do the wild shit, they come to my spot. If they wanted to just dance all night, they could go to Dom's spot. And if people wanted to do other things, there were like 2 or 3 other black suites in Sogo available for anyone to float around in between, and because we were all within a downhill area, it allowed a lot of people to just float in between, see a lot of people, and we're all within like 5 minutes walking distance. So let's say there was a break the stage after party could be at Sogo, and we go to Sogo West, we hang out in Yaji Judo, and then we go upstairs to the Black Boys Suite, which is on the 2nd floor or 3rd floor of Sogo. And then for the after party, people head over to my spot, and then we order some food, smoke some hookah, and watch some TV. So when it comes to you guys currently and parties and events, I would say start from the absolute beginning. Go to each other's, like, make bonds. Try to, see who's up for the community. Or better yet, see who you like to be around. See who you get a good vibe off of. See who has good energy, and just hang out with those people. And then, you have one friend. Just like start of freshman year, you make one friend, and then you meet another person. Then you can say, okay, well, I know person A over in Carmichael, and I know person B over in Hill, and I live over in Wren. So how about we all meet up for some lunch, and then we'll see what we can do. It's simple. It starts that way, and then you can shift that to, okay, let's have some fun times. In someone's room. We'll go to someone's room, we'll watch a movie, or we'll watch a show, or we'll study together, or we'll try to go out and, go into Boston, or see if there are more people that have the same mentality around campus, which is where the social butterfly thing comes into play. But that's how I would say y'all could start. I would say for anyone who's in a group, don't spend no more money. Don't spend not a dime, because it should be community-based first and foremost. Now, Dom, go for it.
Okay. I think it's a community effort. I think that when we came into Tufts 2014, we had the Africana peer advisor retreat.
Oh, that's
and they had a barbecue, they had a retreat, they had, like, the Africana Center really did its job trying to make sure that we were showing up, and there was some interest. So we did create, like, little friend groups there, and our peer advisors did really great jobs of trying to get us to, like, hey, there's gonna be a kickback at somebody's spot. You guys can come through, and, like, including the underclassmen, making them feel like, yes, there is a space for them too. Because as upperclassmen, once you find your niche, like, you're pretty comfortable there. Whereas underclassmen especially freshmen, are very impressionable. They're very, like, what do I do? Where do I go? But it has to be a balance of, like, upperclassmen getting to, making the efforts to also get to know the underclassmen. It shouldn't be like a one-way street where the underclassmen are trying to strive to get to know the older crowd, to figure out who's cool, where can I hang out, Also, spending money isn't necessarily a bad thing. Every swap, you don't want to see the same 100 faces in the same parties every weekend. Every so often it's fine to get up off campus, go to another school party. Every so often, not every weekend. You will never build a community on your own campus if you guys are always building communities on somebody else's campus. Keep that in mind. So every so often it is cool to go out to another campus or to go to the club or to go to like some frat party. But you guys have to do the work as a community to try and stand together, really. Because once you guys start, once you guys really get lazy at it, that's when there's no safety net for everybody, you know? As soon as one person says, "Oh, I don't feel like I need to do that," more people say the same thing, and it becomes like a chain reaction. You guys have to put in the work to be a community first, you know? With my personal experience, I didn't know Rob until like second semester freshman year. But like once I got to know Rob was an athlete. Rob didn't hang out at Capen. Sorry, Kayla, I see you. And Kayla is an athlete too. But Kayla I'd met like through meeting other friends in a different dorm, you know. But once I had athlete friends, especially black athlete friends, you know, and taking the time to check up on them, invite them outside of their athlete cults, because that's what y'all guys were doing. Y'all were in a little cult. So we have
you right. You right. I ain't gonna lie.
You guys were consumed, and it's very consuming to be an athlete. Like, I watched y'all, and I was like, how are these guys doing school? You know, you guys are laser focused. You guys sit with each other for meals. You guys get up at ass crack it on for practice and whatever. But check on your athlete friends and make sure that they feel comfortable coming to hang out with you guys too. It's a community effort, like I said.
I'll build on one thing. Athletes, so freshman fall is very important for just knowing where you play. And athletes are already, fall athletes in particular, are already locked in to, okay, I'm going to do football. Okay, I'm going to do track. Okay, I'm going to do soccer, right? I'm going to do volleyball, what have you. And because you're locked in, you like, there was never an opportunity for me to go to Capen for that retreat. I had two-a-days when they were on Cape Cod, okay? And Kayla knows. I was on two-a-days. Kayla was doing a bunch of shit in her sport when they were, you know, hanging out, having retreats, you know, bonfire shit. We were sweating our asses off, and you know, we're in the same place, so it's cool now. But that was our reality back then, you know. But once I met Dom, and once once you meet certain individuals that aren't athletes, but then, you know, they're still cool to know and hang out with, then you start saying, okay, let's go over here. And then you bring out your athlete homies, you bring out your athlete homegirls, and you say, yo, there's a function over here, let's go. Then you realize, yo, this is pretty fun. So you enjoy. So it takes the non-athletes to pull the athletes out of their zone, so that they can realize that, hey, there's something else other than just hanging out with my athletes. Because I'm telling you right now, the football brothers, they want to know what else they can do or where else they can go. But if there's no option, then they're just going to stay with their homies. Yes, they got white friends, and yes, they got white boys that want to do crazy shit. But if they don't know anything, if they don't know any better, then of course that's who they're going to stay around. You know what I mean? And that goes with every other sport. You need to pull the people out and create a space for them to actively join and feel comfortable in. Any other alumni want to speak on that?
Hi, it's Rebecca. I was.
Hi.
Hello. Oh wait, no, you've been waiting. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
Go ahead, Shu.
Okay, cool. No, I think I would just, to Dom's point, like when I was also a fall athlete. I did volleyball, and so I think to Rob's point, like, it's hard when you come in, like, before everyone gets there, like literally weeks before the campus opens, and you already have this, like, clique that you kind of spend probably too much time with. And then everyone else comes on campus, and then they have all these fun things to do, and you can't do it because either A, you don't have or be like, I mean, I was like probably too serious to be honest, but I was very much like, I'm not trying to eat pizza, I'm not trying to eat ice cream, I'm not trying to drink. Like, I was very clean because I was very gunning for like sports. And so I think it was hard for me in the beginning to meet people outside of that bubble. And like Dom was like the coolest person I knew. Rob was the coolest person I knew. Jessica, like all these people were like so, like literally so dope. And they like had all these friends. They would do all these cool things and they'd meet up. And I was just like, how do I get to be friends with them? And like I was very shy. I was also coming from California. I'd literally never been to Boston or Massachusetts until I landed to do volleyball practice. Like I had no idea where it was. It was like very different for me, and I was amazed by everything. I was like, "There's brick everywhere. I guess brick doesn't fall because there's no earthquakes here." Like it was like a whole thing, and like everything was different. And like I would just say like I think to both of their points, like just reaching out to people and saying hi, because I think sometimes we pretend to be like tough or we pretend to be super busy or whatever the thing is that we're doing, we're projecting. But I think as like deep down we like really wish that we could hang out or like make it easier, and sometimes it's just helpful to have somebody who proactively takes that step and says like, hey, do you want to come to this, or hey, do you want, because you don't know who's going to say yes. And you don't know what they're thinking and what they're going to do in their head and like how they're prioritizing what they're doing. So I know, like, for me, like, I was super shy, but when people came up to me or said something, I was always, like, super excited, and I'd be like, oh, my God, I'm going to hang out with Dom, I'm going to hang out with Nana, I'm going to hang out with these people. But, like, it wasn't something where I would go up to people. And that was just me as, like, someone who was definitely more introverted, freshman through just all college, pretty much.
Okay. Any other alumni want to speak on the... Well, first off, you go ahead. Ma'am, please.
Oh, thank you, Rob. I was an athlete as well. I was on the track team for 2 years, and I was also a cheerleader. But it was a spring sport, so that was different. My friends and I created this collective, I would say, called YBE, Young Black Entertainment, and we threw parties on campus, off campus. We ended up throwing this thing called Trap Fest, for those who didn't know what that was. It was like a 3-day weekend where people from all over the state and some people from New York, and long story, came down and partied with us. So back to Kalachi's question, I think when it comes to having events, successful events and parties, it definitely takes only one person to make an initiative, just to say, as Dom was saying, you have to start the community on your campus first, because back in our day, freshman year, there were Chocolate City parties and parties on other campuses, but nobody wants to travel, and even if you don't want to travel, like, you can stay. But it also doesn't always have to be parties. It can be a game night. It can be, Steven had a PS4, and people would just play Mario Kart in Capen. It doesn't have to be liquor-based or dance-based. Like, you can just sit around and have, like, play. Hezekiah, who's also in the chat, had a spades tournament. Like, it doesn't have to be DJ music. But if you want that to be, that means effort. And as someone who was an athlete and also a peer leader, there was a question of how do you engage people who don't want to be involved? At the end of the day, you went to college to get a degree and to graduate. You did not birth anybody on that campus. Nobody has your name on their birth certificate. So I completely agree with what Dom was saying and what Rob was saying. Like, you have to be open. Always, like, no one is better than anybody else on campus. There are no super blacks. We are all students, and we're not better than anybody else. Always reach out that hand. You never know what friends you're going to have. I'm a social person, but that's not everybody's path. That's not everybody's calling, and it's definitely not everybody's job. And because I'm a social person, it's not my job to make you and drag you into the black community if you don't want to be in it. God help you if you don't. You're still black if you don't go into Capen, and I'm still black because I'm there. It doesn't make me any different from you. I think we have to be careful in our language when we say, make them, like, how do we get people to be in? You know, they're black and on campus. That's the bare minimum. They've done that already. All you can do is be open and available. Because at least for my years, speaking from the I perspective, I was friends with a lot of the black football players. Like, there were black football captains in class of 2016, Akeem Farmer Migos, and Ife, who were captains on the team. It was them who told their people on their team, to interact with the Black students. I was a peer leader. I've also been a peer leader. I'm someone who's on myself. They chose not to be that involved because they had other work. That is their business. I said all you can do is make yourself available. If you build a party, they will come. If they don't come, that is not your fault. Because for people, I feel like a lot of what we did, what causes burnout, is constantly overextending yourself for people who don't want to do it. And that is okay. Not every Black person has to be in Capen. They're still Black. You don't have to know every person's name. Like, that is not your responsibility. All you can do is be a pillar for yourself, is be open, is be true to your version of whatever your Blackness is, and that's it. That's my piece. And feel free to.
All right. Back spitting. I respect it. All right. All right.
Go off camera now because that was my piece.
She made sure, y'all gonna see me. Y'all gonna see me while I'm gonna spit my reel. All right, I respect it. All right, who's next? Who wants to speak on these parties and events, or anyone want to build off of Bex's point?
Yeah, so this is Fatima. I think, being a part of YBE, Trap Fest weekend, and that whole era, it was a time. I think I would definitely say, like, do what you can for the community when it comes to creating, like, a welcoming space and things like that. And I think it's important also when talking about Trap Fest and creating parties and stuff like that and a social scene, I think at the end of the day, it really comes from collaboration amongst the community. Because, like, you can have a group of people that are willing to do stuff outside of set student organizations and things like that, but the birth of Trap Fest and stuff like that really came from all of the Black student organizations, from ASO to CSO to I think it was BSU also, as well as even the different dance groups, Envy and stuff like that, that they had money at the end of the year left over in their budget that they needed to spend. And so me being on Senate, and then also everybody seeing that they had money left that they needed to spend if they were going to get their budget back again, it was like, let's see where we can spend this money. And that's how Trap Fest was born, was all of that leftover budget money. And so it's also a little bit of, how can I finesse this, within Tufts' parameters to spend this money in a way that also helps to create a lit environment for people to have fun and build community in that sense if you're talking about parties and the social scene. But it's also, like Rebecca said, simple stuff. Even when it comes to, I think it's Black Women's Art Brunch, it might have been renamed now. That was birthed from class of 2017, Antonia George, and just her having that idea as somebody that lived in Capen, and she made that her Capen event for the year. And now to see it carried on and stuff like that. So it's really also as simple as you having an idea and being able to talk to people and work with the Africana Center to bring that idea to life and stuff, because they do want to see the community thrive, obviously. So I think it's just about being willing to follow an idea through, as well as just being willing to finesse where you can.
Hey, there you go. All right, who next? Who want to speak on it? We good on this? Y'all get in the picture? Or,
Can we hear from current students about, like, what you guys are seeing now? Because that would kind of help us understand you guys more. Because we just know that you guys want to hear what we went through, but we don't know what you guys are going through now.
Exactly.
All right. So, what we got here? There's a few students can type it in the chat.
Show your faces. We don't bite, I promise.
Man. All right. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Don't matter. All right. I'm gonna leave that one alone. All right. If let's see here. So I do know that some students are listening in, but some students have also been typing in the chat. Let's see here. One question was how to get Black people together and connected across the campus. And I feel a lot of us touched on that already. Basically, the best thing you can do is just create spaces and events where it's not limited to just one subset. Like if I'm an athlete, I'm not going to create a party just for athletes. I'm going to create a party for everyone. Or if I have a house, I'm not going to create a house. I'm not going to have a house and invite only like only people who are in Sogo. I want to invite anyone who cares and everyone who likes my company come through, and we'll have a Walking Dead night. Or if you want to come through and play Xbox, come through. I got the Xbox. I got fighting games. I love playing them, and we'll play. So, and like I forget who, but who someone alluded to. Hey, it doesn't have to be about the drinks and the whatnot. It can be clean stuff as well. Shu was a part of the clean movement. Y'all, you can keep that going. You know, you can say, all right, well, we're going to have like an album listening party. Like, okay, who do we want to listen to? Or someone drop an album. One person buy it. Everyone sits in the room. Everyone listens to it. You know, y'all put a recorder in the middle of the table. Y'all record y'all thoughts and on each song, and at the end of the album, y'all give instant reactions. That could be a production, and y'all could get some like media shit off of just you listening to a album with your friends. But stuff like that, you know, that builds community. That builds long time ties, because you know it's not just when you're around people when it's lit. It's when you're around people when when there's nothing going on, and then you create a good time out of it. That's a core essential of what makes a real friend a friend. When it's plain as hell, like these days, and you come and then someone hits you up, you come through and you realize, wow, this person who invited me made this really fun. I enjoyed myself, and then that means that, oh, this person is really worthwhile. And you know, of course, the best way to, in my opinion, the best way I could say you could be a friend is, you know, supporting someone when they're down. Like when I have my own family problems, Dom was in the area. She helped me out. When Dom had her issues, I was there to help her out. And that's part of the, you know, connection. Like that's part of the connection that we shared. You know, like when Jess came to me with certain things, I was like, listen, I'm all ears. I'm trying to help you out as best as I can. But you know, what did Jess think of me on that level? Maybe not. Maybe she kept some things to herself, but that's her comfort level, and I still respect her for it. And I always wanted to be that type of individual that would be present if someone needed my help, because I want to be to people who I want to be in real life. So I'm trying to present myself as, okay, I want to be this individual who is dependable, who is always there for someone, or who can provide support if needed. So now I have to do that so that I can get that in return. You reap where you sow. So when it comes to the entire event thing, I would say, or when it comes to the what was the question, man? That's what happens when you get old. You start rambling, and then you start forgetting about what the point was.
Hello, we're not hello, we're not old. Yourself, Rob.
Listen, y'all. I'm old. I will say it. I'm old. Y'all still splendiferous. Y'all still splendiferous.
We would love. Can we just take a few minutes and just hear some feedback from the current students? A lot of people here in the chat box. Yeah. Really, really good ones. Ashley talking about burnout, talking about how to engage first years in their first semester. If any other questions come to mind, please everybody share it now so we can, you know, go back and forth on that.
Okay, so I'll stop my bullshit. All right, so let's.
That's not what I said.
Okay. Next one was, how do we engage Black people who are disconnected from the community? Easiest way I can think of, and everyone and alumni, feel free to jump in. Easiest way I can think of to appeal to disconnected who are Black people who are felt to be disconnected. Meet them on their own territory and try to figure out, hey, how can we get you into the fold? You know, if you like, you obviously as an individual who, okay, so Miss Beza or Mr. Beza, I don't want to, if you see the value in community and you see there's an individual over on the hill, everyone's going to class and they're sitting and looking into the distance on the hill or on the library roof, and you think they may have something that they can contribute. You go to them. You go to them in their realm so that they are comfortable. Because what you're doing is you're just trying to bring them into the fold. Sometimes it may be easy for them to it may be easier for them to, you know, come to a party or come to a function that is being held, but they may not want to, you know, go to like a public setting. Like, you know, maybe they're heavily introverted. Maybe they have a severe anxiety. Maybe they just don't want to be around people because they've heard certain things that aren't true, but no one has disproven them yet. So you have to meet them on their own terms. You know, like for me, when I was an athlete, I always heard bad things about Capen. I always heard like, oh, Capen is where people are going to, yell, and it may not be like a welcoming place if you're a dude over there. So, most dudes that I talked to, most athletes that I learned from in my formative months at Tufts, they stayed away from there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to stay away from there because that's what the people I learned from, that's what they did, But only after going there and talking to the people and trying to realize, hey, what are they trying to do, did I truly realize, okay, Capen is not all that crazy, but this stigma is, or this idea of Capen is still out there, So it was helpful when people like Dom reached out to me and said, hey, who are you? Tell us about yourself, and go from there. And then Dom brought me into that, helped bring me into the larger fold, and then I eventually made my way over there. But it took a few years, but I eventually made my way over there. So that's all I can say. Any other alumni want to speak on that, or y'all good with that?
All right, current students, please take the floor.
We're the students.
I've been talking way too much. Yes, students. Students, please introduce yourself, name, year, and then go from there. Someone said ahem, I'm gonna shut up. All right. No. I was ready. I was ready for him to shut up. I didn't even want to talk. But
I'm going to second one of the points that you made, and one that Bex made earlier, that when we arrive at Tufts on day one, we're all on the same playing field. We're all here together, right? It doesn't matter where we come from, doesn't matter what community you came from, you're a black person at Tufts. And so that, to me, is so important for us to recognize. Because just because you see somebody and think, oh, they won't be interested in talking to me, or they won't want to hang out with me, go talk to them. Because they're probably thinking the same thing about you. So really come in with that mentality, or if you're obviously already there, come in with that mentality of, we're all in this together. We're, 3-4%? So we're all in this together. So just really take down that cloak, take down that barrier, and be empathetic and be vulnerable, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right.
I think... Oh,
no,
sorry.
Go for it. No, go for it.
Oh, wait, no. I would 100% agree with that. And I would even add that I think when you say events, I think events can sometimes sound like a lot of planning, organization, logistics, blah. But I think sometimes the gathering can be super, super simple. One of my favorite things, I forget who started it. I don't know who started it, but it was in Capen, and people would literally just watch YouTube videos of Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl by Issa Rae, and we'd sit there, and the clips were literally 3, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and then we'd sit there and we'd talk about the greater themes, and it was just a really great moment. And I remember just feeling really happy that somebody just let me know that was going on. And so I think that some of the points have been brought up is that it doesn't have to be this huge event. I think it can be something really simple that maybe you personally want to do, maybe you and 1 or 2 other friends express, and then as you see people on campus, be like, yo, have you heard about that new show? We're going to watch it together. What if we just did a Netflix party together and we all sat together and we're I have snacks, you have snacks, this person wants to whatever it is, because a lot of times events will spiral. And people hear it word of mouth, and then that's how something becomes a community moment. And I think that's something I do more now as like an adult and at work than I did on campus because I was way too shy then. But I feel like that's something I've noticed is that it usually is like 5, 6 people who are like down to do something. They tell their friends. Next time you do it, it's 10, 15 people. They tell their friends. Next time it's 20 people. They tell their friends. And things kind of balloon and become bigger, and other people have ideas, and they come to you with info. So I think a lot of it is just like starting somewhere and start with something that you personally like to do and would do anyway with your friends, and just being a little bit more opening and welcoming to like the masses of people that you just tell. Because eventually people go, oh, that sounds cool, like, I'll come through. And if people don't come, like, also don't take it personally. Because I used to never come to anything, just because, like, on rank, I was at a job trying to get myself ice time, or I was trying to be at track or whatever. And so I just said no to a lot of stuff. But then senior year, when I wasn't doing sports anymore, I went to everything. And it was just nice to have people that reached out. So don't also take it personally if people don't go, because you don't know what else might be going on.
Okay.
Can I like add to that?
Well, hey, it's all you, man. Go for
Yo, at least from my experience, I know that like as Rebecca said, you know, I had like little game nights here and there, but like I think, well, at least for me, I guess my base of interacting with people was Capen, and I think part of the issue of like trying to get other people was that there wasn't enough of, you know, alternative options for a lot of different people. So like for me, for instance, Capen was just convenient for me. So like all the things that I did, so like bringing my 360 to Capen and playing games or doing something, or, you know, having Shonda Thursdays where we're watching Scandal, we're watching How to Get Away with Murder, like those were convenient for me. But I think there needs to be a number of people that don't necessarily have to frequent a Capen, but just have, you know, alternative events or kickbacks, or, you know, just chilling or just talking or doing something like that isn't necessarily in Capen. I think that's kind of what puts some people off, just because there's always tends to be, you know, some kind of talk or some kind of negative around Capen. Because like I know I heard it my freshman year, but also I didn't give a crap because your boy needed to take a nap between classes. So, you know, I'll come in, take my nap, and be on my way. But also, like, you know, like as Rebecca said, like you can't force it, and, you know, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But also, like, as a community, we have to recognize, like, if folks aren't making it happen, we can't expect other people to make it happen for us. So, yeah.
For sure.
All right.
And it's, I mean, you see people all the time. It's like you're in the dining hall, you're in class, you like literally live on campus. Like you can just kind of pull someone on the side, say hi, and be like, oh, hey, I'm doing this video thing if you want to come join, or oh, we're going to watch this, or, you know, like you see people all the time on campus. And for me, like as someone who wasn't in Capen all the time, I would usually be hearing about things in passing. I'd be into it. Someone would be like, yo, we're going to do this real quick. Do you want to come? And if I could, I'd go. I think it's something where it doesn't have to be super formal. Like you see people in passing, say hi, introduce yourself, and like let them know, like, hey, you know, we're doing a book club, we're doing whatever, we're having tea. Or, it can be simple.
Okay.
It's also interesting to go off of, like,
wait, go ahead, Steven.
Sorry.
Go
Say
ahead.
what?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
It's also interesting going back to Kayla's point where, like, just say hi to different people. I also know, like, I'm pretty sure it was my junior or senior year, there was discussions around, like, maybe we should, like, talk about how we interact with folks. Because I'm from the South, and I'm used to random people saying, like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm like, I don't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, hey, and I keep it moving. But it was very different coming to Boston where, like, I see someone, I may smile and give them a nod, and they, like, look away or, like, they're scared or something. So, like, to go off of Kayla's point, I know I can personally say, like, hey, how's it going? Or, like, I can give someone a nod or probably reach out to people. But I think some folks have a hard time trying to acknowledge folks that they don't know. like even just to introduce themselves unless they're like in different environments. And I know that it was also mentioned that like it's kind of hard to interact with many international students because they tend to only stick with other international students. And there's also kind of like a little bit of division there between like international folks and folks who are from the U.S. So I'm not sure if anyone wants to speak on that, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
That's an interesting topic. If somebody else wants to speak, please speak. Or I'm going to start. Yes, we can hear you. Where's your face?
Don't make them pressure you to show your face. You don't have to. It's okay. Go ahead and talk.
Well, yeah. My name is Hezekiah Branch. I'm a junior at Tufts. I study cognitive science, minor in Portuguese. From South Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, originally from Boston. Definitely speaking on what Steven said, I feel like coming from South Carolina to Tufts was definitely a culture shock. I don't even think in terms of just the way people, specifically black people, acknowledge each other. But I don't know, like I knew obviously Tufts was not going to be like, you know, A&T, Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, but like I felt like at least I expected more people to want to make that kind of environment at Tufts, and I think that was definitely my first year. And like there were people doing that, like you have people like Fatima and Rebecca and Andrew, Kayla, who are putting on events to, you know, have things and have that environment and that mood set. But essentially once that class graduated, and a little bit, I would say with the class of 2019, I believe, graduated, there wasn't really much of that. So I think we're in the midst of dealing with that transition from students. And I also feel like just academically, a lot of classes and a lot of departments have increased in difficulty compared to when I was a first year and I was a junior. So trying to find that balance in, okay, we have a lot of divisions and a lot of different groups. We have a lot of students who may not feel like they're black enough to even go into, not even going to Capen, but just to go to events that they feel revolve around identity. Remember at one point people said they didn't want to go to the Africana Center because the door was too loud when they came in. And then also speaking from the perspective as a current peer leader, it's very, very hard to just get students to respond to anything, to respond to an email, to respond to a text, to like any of the other peer leaders or maybe even first years could tell you, I was literally chasing people in like Hodge and Carm and Duwick and like randomly going up to them, like collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards, basically trying to get them to like, you know who your peer leader is, have you ever been to this, do you want to come to this event? And I feel like that's not a productive way of trying to build that community, and I do feel like the same groups of students tend to be putting on, you know, these events and throwing these parties and trying to create this community, but I feel like if students don't want that community for themselves, then why are you putting all of this energy into doing so? So I'd really want to hear what alum have to say for that, if that's something you all experienced while you were at Tufts, or if current students can speak to that as well and maybe talk about the challenges they faced specifically in either entering the community or trying to sustain a community that feels like it's dying out.
Okay. All right. Current students, anyone can speak to Hezekiah's point. Please speak up.
I feel like I'm Ashley. I'm a sophomore. I'm an American Studies major. I feel like just going off of that, I'm also a peer leader. I was one of the freshmen who was really intimidated by the Africana Center and Capen and the Loud Door, and I became a peer leader because I felt like I wanted to become, like I made that choice myself, and I realized that that's not a choice that everyone else makes. But as a peer leader, like there were more peer leaders at the freshman retreat than there were students this year. So, and it's not to say that the freshmen aren't active, because as the years gone by, like I have freshman friends who I care for dearly and know that like there's an I feel like one of my main things is like creating sustainability and making sure that the freshmen feel like they're included, but I don't know how to do that if I mean, I guess what you guys have been saying about like informal ways of like connecting freshmen are helpful. And it feels weird because I feel like we're talking about how to like socialize with people. Like I feel like that's the root of this call. But just to create some context of like what the scenario is for Tufts right now.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hello.
Any other current? Sorry.
Sorry.
Continue, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Zainab. I'm a freshman. So So for us, I think that like we already are so close because some of us like knew each other already before coming in, and then like we already made like our cliques and stuff. But like when we hear of like events and stuff, like we just don't go to stuff sometimes because it's like it's the same people that we see all the time. So like It's like if I want to see you, then I can just ask you to like go to dinner or something. Like it's not like I have to go to this thing. And then like sometimes like even if like one person says that we're not going to something and like we hear something about the event, it's just like okay, so then the rest of us aren't gonna go. So I don't really know like how that's supposed to like go.
Okay. Anyone else can speak to these points?
I think also too, just adding on to her point, it has gotten better from the freshman class because there was one event that happened at the end of the year and it was only freshmen. So I think there's like gaps like just across the board. I think what I'm focusing on was freshmen because they're the ones who after we graduate are going to leave. And what happened when 2018, 2019 left was nothing. Nobody did anything.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Sorry. No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay.
No.
I was just going off of the sign-up point. Sorry, I'm Beverly. I'm a first-year intended community health major. So, like, at a lot of these things that we go to, or that I've been to at least, it seems like it's just freshmen, and then I'll see, like, some upperclassmen and sophomores, but it'll be, like, the same 10 of them. So it seems as like if I'm going to this thing and it's mostly freshmen, I'm not really getting encouraged by the other classes by their presence. So, like, why should I go?
Gotcha. Okay. Any other students want to speak out on why the hell should I go outside if I want to see the same 15 people?
So, my name is Kayla. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm an international relations major with a minor in peace and justice. I think I can't speak to exactly why people see that is, but I think one of the biggest problems that e-boards are having, I'm part of the BSU e-board, is kind of like that transition in power and like just making it so that it's sustainable, kind of engagement is sustainable. I think when the seniors left, there wasn't a lot of teaching and passing on techniques to underclassmen, so that it kind of became this thing where we were starting all over again to figure it out. And in trying to figure it out, there was just a lot of like just lack in technique and skill of like how to engage the underclassmen and just even engage our own peer and different parts of the community, because all the techniques that the upperclassmen had developed did not go down to us. So I guess like what would be your advice on making it so when one class leaves, it doesn't feel like we have to recreate a whole community, but instead we're just like there's this shift where it's smooth.
Okay. Hi, Beza. Is that your name, Beza? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to answer this question because I think it's a super, super important question. Oh, sorry, Rob.
No, it's on you now. It's on you.
I was president of ASO and COCO. So I think the biggest thing as a freshman is like not to feel discouraged, because a lot of times this happens to at least one club every 4 years. And it's important to know for any underclassmen and upperclassmen as well, when you are in an e-board position, it can't just be you and your friends. It can't be, I'm president, my homegirl is vice president, her bestie is treasurer, and then our second bestie, who we see every now and then, but we're going to diversify because she lives uphill, is secretary. It just can't be like that, because when you graduate, then all the members are like, we have $5,000 budget. Let's just throw a party, and we'll see y'all next year and hope for the best. And that's happened to BSU. It's happened to ASO. It happens to every club. You have to push for it. Like, you can have an e-board with 7 people. If all of y'all are friends, when one person graduates or one person decides to quit the e-board, the club is going to fail. And I've seen it happen 6 different ways over the years, and that's just how it is. And so how do you have a healthy transition is by including members from the jump to say and when you do elections, to make it in a way that you kill that cult mentality when it comes to clubs. Because clique mentality, it's fine to have your clique and your friends, but you cannot bring that to an e-board because it's diversity of thought that's going to get you the best product. And yeah, we're all black, but if we're all black, we all come from the same state, and that's why we're friends, and we all think alike, and you're all my yes men. Well, I'm sorry to that club. I'm sorry to that club, but it's over for y'all. You have to have freshmen on the e-board. There has to be a freshman position. You have to have sophomores. You have to have juniors. You have to have seniors. As for Coco, I knew when I was a senior, we had no juniors on Coco. So I said, when I'm out, freshmen, and sophomores, we have to have a contingency plan, because juniors, most of the time, y'all go abroad, sometimes for the entire year. So when you are building an e-board, it has to be staggered when you have to keep that in mind. Okay, if I'm a sophomore and all of the people on the e-board are sophomores, and we know that all of us want to go abroad next year, we have to have freshmen on this e-board. And you have to think ahead like that, just because these are things that happen. And at Tufts, unlike other e-boards in other schools, you don't have people not everyone goes abroad junior year. Like at Tufts, a lot of people do, especially a lot of the black people who might have never been out the country or been out the state like me. I knew I was going to Ghana and nobody was going to stop me. I came back spring semester though, and I was still president because I had that in mind, and we had built a contingency plan for that. So it takes forward thinking, and it takes you coming out of yourself and saying, well, this person might not be my friend. I might not agree with them, but I know they're going to bring new people into this club, and the group of people that they're bringing to this club are going to help continue the club when I'm gone. If you think me and my friends, we're going to have this club lit, well, I'm sorry, when you and your friends graduate, you won't have a club no more. And that's just what it is. Does that make sense, Beza?
Yes, that was really helpful. Thank you.
All right. All right, I'm going now.
So you're going to be gone, and she's going to come back when she needs to drop some more gems. Why are you leaving in the first place? Ain't no leaving.
I have the bonnet on, and I'm tired, and I need to eat, so I'm cut back.
I mean, you saw Dom over here chowing down on a steak. Why don't you just stay on? You know what? Hey, you do what you need to do. Don't worry. Let me stop. I'll pepper in. Listen. She said the majority of what needs to be heard. If you're looking at it, I'll come from the outsider's perspective, as far as just a regular student. I have no affiliation with any groups at all. I'll say the best way to carry something on is to teach the individuals and bring them into your circle and show them how do you get things done. When I was a senior, and so I wanted to say that me and my guys, when we were in our senior year, we wanted to be known as, we just wanted to party. We wanted to show people how to throw a good time, right? So we constantly welcomed in freshmen, sophomores, doesn't matter who. We would bring people in. We would show them the game. We would tell them, here's how we do these things. Here's how we set up these events. Here is how we organize people. Here's how we make the connections in the first place, so that they're even comfortable coming into our spot. Because for some people in our year, they didn't want to step in our spot, and that's fair. It was a house off campus with 5 guys and a whole bunch of ne'er-do-well shit. I accept that. That's what it was, and it's calling a spade. But that's what we were there. That's what we were there to provide. So when it came to individuals, I believe there was a few people. Akeen, someone mentioned Akeen. Akeen was one of our homies. He used to come to our spot all the time, and we used to kick game to him, saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing over here. We're welcoming you in because, listen, we understand it sucks out there. We understand that it sucks on a regular campus. You know, you come into Tufts, it's cold as hell. It get like September goes by super fast. Then it becomes October 25th, and then it doesn't get over 45 degrees until like April 15th. So we understand that it sucks at the campus, and we tried to create a space where people were welcome and they felt warm even when it was cold as hell outside. Even in the middle of hurricanes and blizzards, we still had open doors because we understood that it's more important for people to feel that warmth from the individual and to hang out with familiar people than it is for us to protect ourselves and click up with amongst ourselves, because we understood that this is bigger than us. We're trying to leave a blueprint for the individual. So when it comes to forwarding the culture and leaving a mark for the next generation to take up, you got to go to the young ones and say, hey, here's how we do stuff. Just like she alluded to. You gotta pull them up. You gotta say, hey, listen, we're gonna dust you off, and we're going to teach you how we do things. And this is how you do things. This is what you have to worry about. This is what you don't have to worry about. If you gotta speak to the administration, this is how you can talk to them. This is how you do not talk to them. You have to talk to if you want to talk to someone in the administration that will get something done, here's the information. One of the most important things you could pass on to the young ones: contacts, who to go to, because there's as y'all know, dealing in the groups, there's a shit ton of red tape, right? If y'all have had a communication with someone in student relations or alumni relations, who works in Baloo Hall, and you're a senior or a junior, and you know this individual, you're on good terms with the individual, the official person who works for Tufts University, and you have that information, you give that to all the young ones and say, hey, talk to this person. You need something, talk to this person, tell them I sent you. And then you can say, okay, I want to go do something for my students, and I want to try to get this done. I was sent on behalf of Bex to help. How can I get this done? And then they'll be more than willing to help you.
Don't use my name, though. I'm gone. Use somebody else.
Hey, if your name hold weight, then that's all that matters. if your name holds weight, then that don't matter whose name it is. People will still name drop Bacow at school. Who was Bacow? That dude was the last president. Why? Why does his name hold weight? Because that dude was the president. So if you said, oh, I'm good friends with Larry Bacow, people know, oh, shit, we got to respect this person because that person's name holds weight. So, one of the best things you can pass down if you're in a senior, junior, or even any type of leadership position, and you've been able to get into those doors and have those connections, pass on those contacts to the young ones so that they can start making it do what it do. When I was in a senior, so I was a plug for people wanted cheap liquor. It's not as illustrious as trying to form a new group. But if someone needed some cheap booze and they were a freshman or sophomore who wanted to get lit, they come to me. I would help them out, and then it would allow them to have fun. Now, it's of course, again, it's not as illustrious as putting someone together with someone in Baloo Hall. But I just did what I could so that the young ones could have the fun times that I did. So, that's all I had to say on it. And thank you for not falling asleep during that. Does anyone else have anything to comment on that topic?
Yeah, I guess a quick point. This is Fatima. Kind of going off of what you said in terms of having people in strategic places, I know while we were there, the big thing was getting people to work campus and event services and stuff. I know Steven was working it, Victoria was working it, a bunch of people were working it, and they would work it out so they would be the ones who would be working the doors and stuff or whatever for any time the Black student groups had events and stuff, so that way things could be a little bit more lax.
and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's still a thing, but that's also a way if you're doing stuff in like tough spaces where it needs to be campus and event services or whatever. Like if you have people in there who are already messing with the community, it makes it easier. I don't know, Steven could probably speak more to it, but yeah, that's also something to think about.
Yeah, to go off of that, I think I think the community needs to be strategic about, you know, having a number of different people in different places so that you can have that access, so that you can, you know, let's say someone has an on-campus job in admissions, someone has an on-campus job at alumni relations. Those people can, you know, connect the rest of the community to those resources. Like for me, for instance, I worked event staff, and I was also a campus center manager. So for the most part, like, I knew about events that were coming up. So like, I'll be sure to plug those events, be like, yo, so-and-so told me to do this. Like, for instance, my year, we were told, so because I was cool with OCL, they basically said, seniors, when tickets go on sale, make sure you get your senior cruise ticket first. They will sell out first. Like, information like that, you have to have people in places so that, you know, they can inform the community. And like, for instance, I also worked with conference and event services. So, you know, if someone didn't want to go home, you can work on campus and get free housing. And for a lot of people, that's clutch, especially working that particular job. It's basically you work right after commencement, you stay for senior week, and you're here all the way until August. So like, it was clutch for me. I'm like so clutch that I was able to pay off my student loans in a year because I spent 2 summers here. So like, you gotta, and like, I know while I was still there, I was still trying to, you know, plug my people in, and making sure that like they still had the opportunities that I had. But with that said, people need to make sure that they come with their own credentials, because I told people that I can recommend you for this job, but if you come for the interview and you mess it up, there's nothing I can do for you. So, you know, if I connect you, you need it, like, for instance, if I connect you to my old boss about a particular job, you need to make sure that you have everything on your end so that they're not coming back to me and be like, why did you recommend this person? Why do you have so-and-so coming to me? So, like, we have to make sure that on our end, when we're being connected, that we have everything put together. We're, you know, have our I's dotted and our T's crossed, you know.
Hey, that's a great point, man.
I just want to echo.
Go for it. Yes, we can hear you, sir.
But, yeah, I wanted to echo what Stephen just said. I think in terms of having people in places that can connect, I feel like as a campus we've done a pretty solid job on. Even from like an OCL perspective, like I know I worked as an event manager.
Hold on.
Yeah, can y'all put yourselves on mute? Thank you very much.
Think I got him. Think I got him.
But yeah, I know in terms of an OCL perspective, OCL is black. The majority of OCL right now is black. I think for event staff, when I was a manager, there were probably 2 students there, maybe like 2 in the possible, who wasn't black. And even in terms of hiring, like I was on hiring committee this semester, and they said, bring on people that you want to bring. I think out of the 10 people we brought on, 8 of them came from black jumbos. I think on that note, there are people in place, there are positions in place to hire, even through the X-College, through different G6 committees, through different whatever. There are places there. I think the problem is engagement. It's like once we are there and once we're bringing people on and fighting with Tufts admin to get them to wake up and stop putting the same rich white kids in all of the positions that really don't need more rich white kids, we need people to actually step up and be like, okay, now that these people have put their necks on the line, how do I take advantage of this opportunity and then bring more people to do the same? I think there's definitely a disconnect on that note, which I do think impacts the larger community. And I think people, you know, make decisions for various reasons that impact the community. And I think even Rebecca talking about e-boards and not letting your friend group be an e-board, I think is important. But I think my concern is, how do you, now that we have those places and those things and those mechanisms in place, how do you actually get students to use them so that they don't die? Because obviously all of these things are being tracked in the background, and we're constantly having to argue on students' behalf when they're seeing things are not being used. How do you get those to be sustained through engagement? Even the idea of Capen has been, you know, thrown out in the past year and a half. Like, do we need a Capen? Should it just be a multicultural center? People have come up into the building looking at the building for property, saying, oh, I think this would be a really good housing development. It was already proposed to be a housing development earlier this year. So when we're going through issues like that, mainly out of a lack of use, because the building essentially is empty for the past 2 years, how do we find ways in which we can resist that from happening in the future?
All right, I'll say this. Y'all can't, whoever is at school, y'all can't let Capen fall. Trust me, okay? Capen, for all the shit that someone like me or another past students will give Capen, Capen was always there as the starting point for any black shit, okay? Y'all can't let Capen fall. Absolutely not. No multicultural, no other shit. It is black, black, black. Keep that shit black as the coffee that comes out of the damn pot, okay? No other shit there. Everyone else has their own shit. Black people, keep this shit. No matter, like, I was never Capen, but I understand how much of a part it plays in the development of many an individual. Okay, I was an athlete. I was opposite of Capen, but I understand now. It's needed. It is needed. You cannot let that shit go. Please, 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 please. If y'all get anything from me today, do not let Capen fall to the school or to the don't let Capen be in the eyesight of the school, because once it goes there, then y'all are scattered. Y'all scattered even worse than y'all are right now, because from what we're hearing. Because right now y'all are asking us questions, and we're very happy about that. But y'all are scattered. Now Capen was the only spot where it's discernibly black. Now if Capen leaves, then it's going to be some plaque in Baker Hall that no one gives a shit about. That house going to be gone, and now y'all don't even know where to link up anymore. And then go ahead.
Rob, I'm going to jump in because you're very passionate about this. It's an issue, but you know that's a lot to put on the shoulders of the folks that are there now. You have studies to focus on. You have other priorities, but this is an issue, and that's why this is just the start of this conversation. And we're hoping that you can leverage us. Like, we can help you bring this back. And so this is just, this is the kickoff conversation, but we all need to connect and strategize and think about what's the strategic plan for this year to ensure you have the foundation that you need, and that Capen certainly should not be empty right now. And you need to leverage the leadership that's there. And if they're lacking, then you need us to speak up, because guess what? We still give money back to Tufts. We put money into Tufts, and that means we have a voice in this. And so we need to make sure we're all communicating and letting us know what's happening, and use us to help you in this. That's a lot to put on you guys. Why are you laughing?
Because I thank you for checking me once again.
I was like,
I appreciate that, but again, like, Capen can only stand if Capen is there by virtue, by default, kind of, but it stands if the black community is there to support it. If Capen falls, then there's even less of a community that there's even less of a tangible community. Because now you get rid of the meeting place, now where people are supposed to go. And then now you're just leaving people in the wind, and you're leaving them up to their own devices, and now it becomes even harder to create that sense of community that y'all are coming to us searching for. And that's why I was so passionate about trying to stop this. Dom, go for it. Dom.
Hold on, guys. I'm a little hold on.
Dom, you need like 5 seconds to fix yourself before you get back on camera or something.
I'm a little compromised at the moment. Give me a minute. Hold on.
All right.
While we wait for Dom, I just want to quickly touch on Zanab's point about YBE, because it's a tangent. So, when, just real quick, because I know it was asked in the group, I don't want us to glaze over it. YBE, Young Black Entertainment, was half people on e-boards who had money to fund it, and half just black people who wanted to party in an organized fashion, in a way that wouldn't be shut down. Because the plague of my year was police getting called on us, police showing up when nobody called. I even had someone, an Asian female who could not get into a party, who called the police on us just for fun. So that was our biggest issue, was being policed our year. Luckily, we had people organized to get.
Yo, pass me my water.
Uncle?
Who passing water?
We had.
Yo, put it on mute, bro.
We had people organized to get the metal detectors taken off on us for our parties. But YBE was, we had Trap Fest, which is, we changed the name to Show Up, Show Out Weekend, because trap was had become co-opted to be like a white thing that we didn't want anymore. So we had Show Up, Show Out Weekend, where we invited colleges from all over Massachusetts, but like whoever would come to come and party with us at Tufts, and we gave like priority first to Tufts students to get their tickets and stuff like that. And then we had a series of house parties called the Road to Trap Fest, or the Road to Suso Weekend, that we threw at the commuter house, because we had a friend who lived there, and it was easier than moving all the furniture in Capen to do so. That was led up to the party, but that took a lot of work. And so I know I said in the chat, just let it die, but I would rather it die than y'all come and do it and not do it well, because it took 6 months at least of planning. We had a promo video that dropped in November. We had parties that were every month. We had DJs lined up. We had a contest to see who would perform. We had meetings upon meetings upon meetings to make that happen. And if y'all want that to happen, as I said before, I am always here to be a resource. But also, as I said before, I'm not going to drag anybody to do what they don't want to do. So it's possible to happen, and you don't need to be on an e-board. I want to reiterate, even though I gave the steps to make an e-board effective, you don't have to be on an e-board to organize. A lot of the things that we had at Tufts was just people outside of e-boards, outside of ASO, outside of PAA, doing things to organize and to make their community better. And to slightly touch on Chonen's point, if I'm pronouncing your name right, like my class of 2018, we had our own issues. Every year as a cheerleader and as a student, it's why won't we come together as a community? Why are there people who feel like they're not included? And that's because, every year you get a different batch of black people. Every year the demographic is going to be different, and people are going to feel like outsiders or insiders in different types of ways. So I don't want you guys to feel like this is the worst it's ever been, because believe me, it's been better and it's been worse. So don't be too hard on yourselves about that.
Yes, I'm going to echo Bex right here. It's not bad, and it's not it's been worse, it's been better, but this is just y'all's situation now. And because I've been hearing, and again, because I heard from Destiny that it's this and it's that, it made me concerned. That's part of the reason why I'm starting this. Dom, you are back now. You're settled. You're secure. Normal situation. Yes. Do you want to contribute?
So what was the question that was posed to me? Because I had a whole another conversation like going around me that I had to get up and remove myself from.
So the last thing that you commented on was about the 50th, but the current topic on the table right now is whether the problems that are being explained about the students now, where there's lack of community, lack of parties, lack of just cohesion amongst the 4 years currently at Tufts, is that isolated to just this specific time, or has it always been has there always been problems within each 4-year group or time period? And you know, obviously our class had our own issues. Our class, I speak glowingly about our class, but of course our class had our own issues. Our class had certain sects. Our class had certain cliques, and you know, some people didn't get along with other people. I had people who grinded my gears. Same can be said with Dom. Same can be said with Jessica. But at the very least, we knew that we could get something done as the collective, and we eventually put our shit aside and made it happen. That's what I could say about our class.
Okay, so I know, like, I think Hezekiah had mentioned, I think it was you, how do you get people who are not the same people always throwing the same parties to throw now parties? Not everybody is a party thrower. You gotta accept it, period. How do you get people not to bring their issues to organizational structures? It's a separation of church and state. You gotta let people check their shit at the door, but at the same time, you have to understand, like, the mission of, you have to keep the focus of the group on the group. If people have issues outside of the group, either there has to be some type of, like, don't let things fester. I was in a situation senior year. This had nothing to do with any organizational group. It was my suite. We were having issues senior year right after spring break. It was a hot mess. 2 of my suite mates, like, it was 4 of us. And one girl and the 2 others, they were fighting, and of course I'm the peacemaker, so I was in the middle, and they didn't talk for a straight almost month. Spring fling was coming. We had come back from spring break. Like, they weren't talking to each other, but they'd talk, like, to other people. They would talk to me, but not to each other. And it got to the point where I'm like, all right, I wanted to be selfish, and I wanted to throw a party, so I was like, all right, guys, what we're not going to do is throw a party if we're not speaking. They're like, yeah, we're not throwing any parties because we're not speaking. I'm like, okay, that's now I get to be selfish, because I've had to live in an environment where I have to separate myself between 2 groups of people now, and it's uncomfortable for me. Why don't we hash out our issues now, get it on the table, resolve it, and then I want to throw a party because it's party season. You know, spring fling, it was Childish Gambino, and our theme was Freaks and Geeks for the party. So who doesn't want a Freaks and Geeks party? So, I mean, where we went wrong was letting it go on for a whole month. I'm saying, like, if it's a group issue, you guys have to hash it out. But as soon as something starts to stink, hash it out. Because it's not going to resolve. It's not going to make the dynamics of the group work. People are going to get petty because that's human nature, and they're not going to want to participate, and they're not going to want to go to outings. They're not going to want to support people. They're going to start putting bugs in other people's ears, and then it's going to cause divides. So my biggest thing is, if you have an issue, hash it out and solve it quickly. Don't let it fester. When it comes to, what was the other thing that was asked? Hi, Jess. Love you.
Hi, guys. Sorry, I have to run out, but
funny.
reach out, please, and this is just the start.
This is only the start. We'll make this happen. All right.
Absolutely. Take care.
You too.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So, second question was, what was it? So it was about hold on. Let me look back at what the good sir's question.
I mean, it's good practice for the real world also. Like, you have to understand, in the real world, if you're working in an office and Becky down the block is telling people that she doesn't like when you heat up your food, you need to speak with Becky ASAP before Becky starts complaining to a supervisor, or you start complaining to a supervisor that people are starting to talk about blah, blah, blah. You have to figure out how to sort these issues out in the office before it becomes a problem. And if it is becoming a problem, find somebody who can act as a mediator to help resolve it. But always try to avoid conflict, especially in smaller group settings when it comes to like having an organizational goal and mission that you're trying to accomplish. And sometimes you just have to put things to a vote. If one person wants to throw a party and the rest of the group doesn't think it's feasible, put it to a vote. Why, and then explain why it wouldn't be feasible if that's why the vote is being decided as so. Yeah.
Right. To piggyback off what Dom was saying, as far as like parties and whatnot, and as far as like dealing with differences and schisms within your own little group. My house, you know, you got 5 athletes in one house. You're going to have some egos in there. And there was a time where one of the dudes was basically he got a girl. So synopsis is that he got a girl. He cared, and this was during senior year. He got a girl. He cared only about his girl. Didn't give a shit about any one of us. We were trying to keep things moving, keep the party going, keep the vibe, keep the freewheeling vibe of the house that we had, keep that going. And this dude just completely disconnected himself from whatever we were trying to do. You know, and he would just be all like 100% about his girl. And you know, I can respect it, but at the same token, it came to a point where like his girl was starting to impose some shit for him to do in our house. For example, his girl proposed that he throw a joint birthday party for him and his girl in like September. He didn't speak with any one of us in the house, and you know, we didn't know that this was happening. But Friday night comes around, a bunch of people are in our house. I'm looking dusty as hell from a class and from the gym. I'm wondering what the hell was going on in my house, you know. And then people are coming in. People are dressed to the nines. I'm like, who the fuck allowed this shit to happen? You know, so eventually we had to sit this dude down and check him and be like, no, listen, you can't be doing this anymore, man. I understand we're here to like party, we're here to have fun, and I understand that you got a girl now and that's great, but you just can't give our house like to other people if we don't even know who's going to be here. That's not cool, because now we gotta check in on who's going to be in our house. And if it's going to be some stranger ass motherfuckers in our house, we may get robbed or some worse shit may happen. So at the very least, we have to like be prepared. But you know what Dom was saying is check shit at the door. Okay, if you got a problem with someone or if you have a difference of opinion, bring it up. Of course, try to be professional, grown about it. Don't be petty. Ain't no need to be petty just yet. Okay, it's the start. You ain't gotta be petty about your shit. But check the bullshit at the door. Stand for what your values are. Say, listen, I don't mess with this proposal because, you know, I really do feel that the money can be used for this, and we really need to prioritize these types of ventures as opposed to trying to buy everyone a book. We could at the very least, you know, buy an audiobook. Buy one audiobook instead of buying like 50 physical copies, have a listening party, and then everyone can learn from it. That's a better use of our money, that's a better use of our time, and that's a more collective and more organic type of learning amongst each other, as opposed to just giving someone a book and telling them to read it, come back to a book club, and then tell them what they learned and understood about the book. You know, there's ways to go about things, and when someone is not going about it in a way that you may not approve of, that's fine. That's how they want to do things. But at the very least, if you have a vested interest in what they're doing, then you gotta check them on it. Understand? That's all I got to say. So yes, no.
also there was another point brought up about the times. I'm not gonna lie, you guys are very by you guys I mean like your younger generation. It's a very distant, isolated, social media heavy it's a very socially online. It's an online heavy kind of group, you know. Yes, thank you. Just socially.
Damn, he fired.
I'm sorry, but he said it, and I was trying to be nice, but he just put it out there, so I just had to, you know. So it's hard. It's hard to get up and be in groups when everybody wants to be in the room, like taking Instagram pictures, trying to show it on the gram, or get the most likes. Or some people are trying to actually hustle on the gram. I'm not gonna lie, some people are actually trying to do that. But this is why God said, you know what, everybody's doing too much. I'm gonna put a pause on the world. You guys are gonna sit your ass home and get to know each other, people that you're around. Be home, spend time with your family, learn to talk to people again, call people up, socialize this way. This is kind of a relearning period for us to kind of take a step back, enjoy life, understand that we can't always be plugged in. Sometimes we have to just take a break, slow down, smell the flowers, look outside, learn what's around you, try new things. And I feel like people are getting lost in that, the social media aspect, a lot of times people are just not appreciating what they have before it's threatened to be taken away. So, that being said, if anybody really cares about Capen, do what you gotta do to protect it at all costs. Because 50 years of blood, sweat, and tears, protests, gatherings, events, support systems, there have been tears shed in Capen. I've cried in Capen plenty of times. And there were people there to watch me cry and to comfort me and everything. But those are the times, those are the things that you really have to protect, because the day that you need it and it's not there anymore, you're going to feel like an asshole because you let it slip through your hands. So you guys got to do what you got to do to rally support if you have to. As an upperclassman, you have to, if you want somebody to engage in the groups, you got to engage in the groups, Set an example. People follow example. If people are always on their phone, don't be on your phone all the time, Take a break, learn to speak to people. People don't bite all the time, I think those are important things. Learn how to connect socially. Learn how to, understand what people do, Play instruments, design clothes, do fashion shows, do something. And use the resources that is there, otherwise it's going to get taken away.
Shit, cut hair. As a black dude, listen, it's hard to go find a cut
hair,
on campus.
Hairdressing, nail techs,
yes,
eyebrow,
yes,
eyelash techs, all of it. Makeup artists. That was me. I was doing makeup on campus. Get your connects together.
Yes.
And use Capen to do it.
Yes, honestly, one of the best ways y'all can build community, have those businesses. Have the people who do their little hustle. I was an IT guy. I was a computer guy for a lot of people, so people needed help with their computer, they come to me. Okay? One of our homies, Drew, he would cut the hair for everyone on campus. Charged $10, had a pair of clippers, and he had, his little schedule. You text him, he's available. Okay, head over to his suite. He cut the hair. So one of the best ways y'all could build community, have small businesses in that community. So if any skills you think you may have, if you know how to sew in a straight line, and you know how to repair a pair of a skirt or a shirt or a ripped jean or something like that, that's a skill. You can market that to the students, and then they can come to you. That builds community. because now you're trading dollars, and then now you're trading experiences. You're training yourself, or they're training. You're helping each other grow. That is the essence of community. Help each other grow. All right, so we talk about that. So Sheldon asked a good question, and let's see here. And I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna get you in on this, Stevens, but I'm gonna kick it off. So let's
no.
No. He in this. Oh, we here. So Sheldon's question was, I have a question with regards to how it's gotten to the point that we as a community, I'm assuming, can collectively agree that something...
Yeah,
Mr. Mohammed, what's going on, sir? How are you? Hello? Hello? Alright, how did you hear me, bro? I'm going to mute you right quick, but I got to get back to Chilling's question. Now, Chilling's question was, I have a question with regard to how it's gotten to the point that we as a community, I'm assuming, can collectively agree that something ain't right but just can't fix it ourselves. Has there been times in the past where alumni had to be called in to fix the social problems of black students at Tufts? Not to seem indignant, but I feel that it's weird that if the parties in a conflict can agree there's an issue and want to fix it, yet nothing happens. And why is it that we couldn't just naturally coalesce as it seems that y'all classes was like? Are there things that we can admit to have done that could have led us to where we are now, or is it a matter of just the Negroes over there? So, first point in my opinion is, no, alumni had never been called back to Tufts to try to fix a problem. But, and I want to say, there's never been alumni who gave a shit that much to come back to Tufts to talk to people. In 2014, we didn't have alumni readily come back to Tufts and organize shit to come talk to us about what was going on. Like, we just had alumni drop in here and there. If it was Break the Stage, we may get a few alumni over here. Or if it was Essence music performance, you might get a few alumni. If it was S Factor music performance, you might get a few alumni. But it was here and there. We never had alumni make a concerted effort to come back to the school and chop up game to us. This is brand new. And it's only because I feel that, you know, we didn't have that. But it's needed. And it would have helped us back then. So I want to help you guys, and I want others to come in and help the current students right now. Because we know that us in the real world, it's tough. And we want to make sure that y'all prepared. And we also want to make sure that y'all have the best time that you can at school. So hopefully, if we say something, y'all can gleam off of it and try to switch up y'all own game so that you guys could optimize what we're saying, apply it to your own position, and see if it works. You know. All right. So that was the first question. Number one. And yes, Kayla, good point. You can reach out to Katrina. She can put you in contact with alumni from decades past. That is very true. Now, yes.
Real quick. Hezekiah, you just said something in the chat. That's no, wait, it wasn't. Wait. Yeah, no, you did. Are seniors that are not on performance groups and e-boards a lost cause? The answer to that question is no. Those are the people who are your glue, because you're going to need somebody to support. You're going to need somebody to support. Those friends might have ideas. They might not be on the e-boards because they have other things going on, but they can always give their ideas. And why were you thinking the opposite? My friend, you gotta choose what type. You rarely get to see them. So do they not come out? Do they not support? What is it?
Could I speak on that a little bit?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, like, I wasn't on an e-board my entire time at Tufts. I was in African Dance Collective, which is now known as SOPO, I think my sophomore and junior year, but my senior year, I wasn't like officially involved with any of the group. But with that said, like Rebecca said, I had 3 different jobs. So when you guys did see me, I'd be like, hey, how's it going? Like, what's going on? Da, 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 da. But also, like, I think that I was one of those people that could still connect you guys to a number of different things around campus. And I think, like, those seniors who aren't necessarily involved in specific groups or, e-boards, they can still connect you to a number of different things around campus. Because, like, I know there were a number of folks that worked in, like, the Jackson Gym. And, like, let's say you wanted to, see if there's available space. They can let you know things like that. Or, folks who are working in the library, can put you on game in terms of which rooms tend to be open around such time. I think just because particular people aren't on e-boards, specifically seniors, I will say that like the fact that they're seniors, they tend to know a lot more people than the juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and they also tend to have a bit more connections just because they've been there longer and they've heard of things. They've talked to different people. They know different professors. So like the fact that they're seniors, they tend to know a little bit more about the campus and the interworkings. So definitely tap into those, even though they may not be on said e-board or in this particular group.
Going off
I agree.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Thank you. Going off of Stephen's point, and I don't know if, I do not want to butcher this man's name, so I'm just going to say, I don't know if Mr. C is still in the chat to address if we are hitting the nail on this or not. So if anyone can just like let us know if we're speaking on what needs to be spoken on. But I think that's why this needs to be a continued conversation, because it's saying it and then there's doing it. The alumni that are speaking, we are not on campus. Glory to God, I graduated, not going back. So it's not up to me to say, do the work, or it's up to you guys to actually do it. And I might be a little radical in saying this, but, I really believe, like, as someone who experienced burnout via overexerting myself with people who did not want to be in the community, I might have a little PTSD. But as we approach 3 hours into this call, and as I approach dinner, I just wanted to say that, at the end of the day, don't forget to prioritize yourself. You are the glue to your own Black community. And if you are overexerting yourself to the point where you can't even service your own friend groups, or most importantly, yourself, you can't help other people. And to the freshmen and underclassmen who might feel like it's being fragmented, when I was a freshman, there were, like, BSU had Real Talks, and a lot of the times it was like, sometimes the juniors might not be there, or sometimes the seniors might not be there. Take initiative to say, we want this class to host this event. The class that you don't see come in, if it's just you and seniors looking at each other, take it upon yourself to say, we're inviting sophomores to host the next event. We're inviting juniors to host this event, so you can get intergenerational or intergrade involvement where you don't see it. And if the issue is amongst yourselves, I've seen classes amongst themselves, like just the freshman class or just the sophomore class, come to go together and hold a town hall. Whether that is effective or not, I don't know, but it will definitely not be effective if you do not try. There's 4 years. You have 4 years at Tufts. It's a long road. Like, don't give up in the beginning and resign yourself to your friend groups or your friends, because just like our elders, Dom, Rob, and others have said, your friends aren't set in stone, and you can meet people who might not be as outgoing or who might not be as willing to join the community, because everyone's making their own personal journey in Blackness. So to say, like, we really fucked up now that we got the elders coming in here and telling us how to operate. Well, it's not what it is. Like, every year you have different people coming together in different ways, and just the way that you guys have come together has been brought to the attention of the elders like Mr. Rob to come and say, well, how can we help you, because people didn't help us.
And I want to just piggyback on that. Thank you, Bex. I want to piggyback on that. Listen, us coming back is not, we've been conditioned to think that if an adult comes back to look down on us and on what we're doing on our work, we think that we're doing something wrong. That's not the fact. That's not a case. They just want to check on us. Now, and they may have commentary. Now, yes, we may be predispositioned to think, okay, we may be doing something wrong. But they just want to make sure we're on the right path. And that's all we're here to do. Okay? That's the only reason why I even wanted to get everyone in the room, because I want to make sure everyone that Tufts, as far as the black community, is moving in a direction that pleases the students. And when I heard that it was not moving in a direction that pleases one of the students, I had questions. And then when I spoke to more students on campus that echoed that first student's words, then I had to say, okay, maybe there's something more going on here that I don't know about. So we're only coming back because we want to make sure that we can do everything that we can in our power to allow you to make the moves that y'all want to make. Okay, like y'all could, like, again, on-campus politics is going to be on y'all. We're not there anymore. Like we've aged out, and honestly, we're fine with not having to pay another cent to Tufts because we did our time and we're out. Okay, like I don't want to equate Tufts to jail, but hey, we did our time, we got out. Okay, I did my time to society. I did my time on the Hill. I'm gone from there right now. But there are people there that we can identify the struggle. And we know, listen, I understand how hard it is for you to go from downhill to uphill in the middle of a wind tunnel, in the middle of a storm. I get that. It sucks. Your bones are brittle. You feel that you're going to fall over any minute now in the middle of January. I get that. But, you know, we can be here to tell you, okay, well, if you're trying to go uphill, maybe you can just go through Dowling Hall instead of trying to walk the memorial steps, trying to get uphill. Maybe you can just go through Dowling Hall, take the elevator to the 7th floor, and then just walk out to wherever you need to go to. That way you're avoiding the cold. So little tidbits like that, we're here. That's what we as alumni are here to provide. So Fatima, please. I won't want to speak too much, so go for it.
Oh, yeah, I just had a couple points I wanted to make, and then I have to head out. This is going way back earlier to a comment a student had said about going to parties or different social events and it all just being freshmen or all just first years and stuff like that. I think a big part of when we did start throwing parties and stuff under YBE or whatever is that we are making sure to connect with other students and student organizations and just students in general, black students, in the Boston area. So when you're talking about Harvard, MIT, as well as BU and Boston College and all of those different places. And so I think it's like, while yes, you want to party with other people at Tufts, yeah, after you go to a Tufts party a couple times, you're going to keep seeing those same people. So you need to make sure you're going to events at other schools. I know while I was still at Tufts, there was a Facebook group that was specifically for all of the black student organizations in the Boston area, and so all of the black student organizations would post their events there. I'm sure now it's moved mostly to Instagram or something like that, but by going to their events and stuff like that and making those connections and then inviting those people when you all throw an event or throw a party or something, that's how you're able to, like, I guess, keep the social scene at Tufts or elsewhere in Boston, like, lively, so it doesn't just feel like you're going to the same thing over and over again. And that's how we were able to build on that, and that's when we were able to get people from New York and Rhode Island and stuff like that as well. But to touch on that, and then to also go back to a point that was made way earlier about dealing with burnout and stuff, I think I would further harp on what Rebecca has said around self-care and just making sure that you're also saying, like, yes, you want to create a community and you want to do all you can for the community, but at the end of the day, you're also there to get your degree, and you're also there to hopefully make sure you're in the right mental space and all of those things. And so I think as you build the bigger black community, making sure that your friend group is like a sacred space where you can share how you feel. And I definitely relate to someone saying they were crying in Capen. I think Capen has seen a lot of tears over the years. And so just like making sure you're building that space where you can say, okay, I need to take a step back and kind of take time for myself.
So yeah, I think those are the two main points I wanted to touch on. But if you all ever want to reach out to me, my name is Fatima Jose. Find me on LinkedIn. I think my number is here. You can text me, send me an email, whatever. I'm more than willing to help out. But yeah, I hope everybody has a great time and stays healthy.
Thank you very much, Madam Fatima. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. All right. So, are there any other pressing questions at this point? Any students have any other questions that we can answer? Because I know that is running a lot longer than I intended to, but I did intend for it to run a little bit longer because I wanted a nice conversation to come out of it and for the students to just soak up this game. So, Yvonne,
can I do the recap?
Please, Dom, go for it.
Okay, so I did the introduction.
Yeah.
We had some alums from as early as 2014 all the way through 2018, and so basically we talked about what our experience was in Tufts, transitioning out of Tufts, now in the real world. We wanted to know what your experience was. We wanted to hear what were the issues that you guys were finding on campus. We talked about including the freshmen and like reaching out to people, trying to make sure that you're supporting each other through events, going to different kinds of events. Like doing things like playing games or doing dinners or going off campus together or doing mixers with different groups either on or off campus. Doing things together to build your relationships together, checking on your athlete friends because they're in a cult. I promise. They will come out if you show them the light. We talked about the party scene. We talked about how it used to be on and popping on the party scene. We could throw parties. TUPD would come shut it down. The Black Cops were on our side. They would shut it down temporarily and let us come back to party. We talked about how there were different groups of people that would throw parties, and it was okay, and it was good to mix it up every so often. We talked about it's okay to take a rest. It's okay to recuperate, even if you burn out, because everybody and their mama hits the wall at Tufts. Everybody hits the wall. Everybody burns out. Everybody has a breakdown. Everybody, is ready to throw it all away at some point. But you guys have to stick it out with each other. We talked about how Capen is an asset that has to be protected at all costs. We talked about how you guys have to come together, figure it out. If it means pooling all of the budgets from all the separate groups together to make sure that you guys are putting money into something Capen related, do what you got to do, but protect Capen, because for 50 years there was always a place where people can come together and feel safe. If that place gets lost, you're not going to feel heard when all of the centers are coming together and they're trying to equate everybody's experience to one another. It's not the same. There's enough different experiences with the amount of different kinds of Africana people, never mind the Asian people or, anything else. So you have to just do what you got to do to get Capen protected. If that means having petitions signed by alumni, do it. I'll sign it 10 times over. I will. I'll show up there and say, this is why I think you guys should keep these doors open and never repurpose them. So, we also talked about it's okay to be yourself. It's okay not to always be around in the mix. It's okay to not be on an e-board or a performing group. You're still valuable. You guys are all gems. And I think that if you guys really want to come together, you guys will find a way. It's all about just making yourself available for others and letting them know that you're there, and also to letting them know what your expectations are for you and yourself. I think I got it all. Let me know if I missed anything.
That's a pretty good summary. I do want to add on to that. Just one thing. So the recap, you did the recap. I want to add on one thing about protecting Capen. Tufts will never get rid of Hillel. Okay?
Thank you, because they got money.
Thank you. I just read a book by a dude named Bill Cummings, right? This dude, Bill Cummings, claims that he's that he's Jewish. He donates money to the school. Hillel won't close because they got funded, they got backing, they got funding. Okay, they're questioning on closing the black shit because honestly, we need to just bring the big bank. We'll work to get that done, okay? Or one man work to try to bring that bank back to Tufts. But please believe, don't ever think that the Africana Center, that's not even the consideration if it should be closed. It should not be closed because if every other identity gets a chance to join in, like gets their own spot, if the LGBT gets their own spot, if the Asian Center gets their own spot, if the Hillel Center gets their own spot, why can't the black people get their own spot? Why is there an option for the black people to have their shit removed? But you have a whole Hillel Center that is bigger than the Africana Center that could be attached to what's that hall, Ren? Or what's across from Houston? Like what's that hall across from Houston? I forget
Miller.
Yeah, Miller. That could be an extension. That where the Hillel Center is, that could be an extension of Miller. That's easy. Another like 50 to 75 beds, but they will never get rid of that because they got funding. The only reason they're even thinking about trying to topple over Capen is because there's not enough funding that the university deems valuable to keep that shit open. So trust me, this Capen is essential, and even if you don't go there, Capen is essential. And everyone saying Miller, thank you. That tells you how senile I am in my thinking.
Yeah, no, seriously, and as you guys get older, I know nobody wants to give a dime to Tufts, but if they ask you for money, you can purpose it.
Yes.
Whenever I give my money, I always say, give it to Capen, give it to Envy, give it to some black group, because that's who needs it from me. I'm not giving my money to just the grand scheme of things. No, I was a part of these groups. These groups kept me going. These groups kept me sane. So I think it's important to give back to what held me when I was in need. Give to those groups.
Exactly. And for me, I give like a couple of dollars here and there because I ain't got like that. But whenever someone, hey, Steven, thank you very much for showing up, my brother. Thank you. We'll have this again, okay? And we'll make it happen. We'll make it do what it do. You'll hear about it in more time than today. But when Telefund calls me, right, I always say, I'll put down $10, put it towards Africana Center. I don't want that shit to go to nowhere else because I understand how important it is, not for me, but for other individuals. So I understand how important it is for Africana Center for black people at the school because we're already outcast. We're outcast. We are treated as outcasts in society. We get one spot to call our own. Now they want to knock that shit down. That's why I was so passionate about it in the first place. There is no touch with the Africana community. Hezekiah, thank you for saying that. It's like that's what it is. We need this, and I'm not saying we need this in the fact of like everyone's got to go there, but we need this just as an option because there are very few options. Wait, so Mamadou says the school is also on the ass because of low commitment. Yo, Mamadou, can you speak for a second? Hold on. Let me see if you're all right. Let me do this right quick. Can you unmute yourself and talk on that for a second?
Yeah. I know early in the year there was a lot of problems when it came to like center events that would happen and whether or not people were showing up to them. So like all across the board for a lot of different clubs and a lot of different events, it was like a lot less amount of people that would normally show up. So because of that, like the university has been on like the Africana Center's case a lot more about, like you guys have all this money and like people aren't showing up to things. Like one of the things that happened early in the year was the retreat. A lot of freshmen just didn't go. Like it was like 55 signed up, only like I think 9 and 10 went, and they literally like wasted like 10 grand because they didn't show up when they were supposed to. So it's like things like that really are not really helping right now.
My heart. 10 G's?
Yeah, 10 G's.
Damn. Okay.
Y'all gotta make it fun. Y'all gotta make it seem like y'all the shit. Like it's the best thing ever to be a part of the Africana Center because if they don't see that in you guys, Damn.
Listen, I'll say this, right? Like that they lost bank, and then now they're considering. Okay, if anything, listen, y'all, that's the second time someone almost made me spit out my whiskey. You're trying me today, okay? Y'all trying me with this shit. But the best thing I can say for y'all to do, like, maybe the Africana Center needs a rebranding, or maybe it just needs a new infusion of energy. I don't know, but like y'all got like there is something that can be done. I know that there is something that can be done. It takes us putting our heads together to try to figure it out. That's why this is the first of many calls, but this has to happen. And thank you for bringing that up, because now the university is saying, okay, we're spending this money on these black folks. These black folks ain't showing up. They go, and from what I've heard, they're going off campus to go spend their money on other off-campus shit. But we're throwing events for them. They're not coming out. So now they're looking at you like, okay, well, if you're not even trying to show up and you're going somewhere else, why not just repurpose the money somewhere else? And the money includes the Africana Center. So now it's just a snowball effect, and we got it starts. So okay, it starts with trying to get the engagement back up, which is one of the prevailing themes from your questions. Let's see here. People are praising Dom. Oh, okay. Beza got to be out. Thank you for joining, Beza. I'll have this popping another time. Hopefully soon, because hey, we're still stranded at home, so we'll make it happen. Let's see here. What else? So, Mamadou, thank you very much for that commentary. And Hezekiah also mentioned, remember, the G6 came out in protest from Capen. So Capen people, black people, okay, black people caped for all these other groups. They got their shit. Now they're trying to take out the black group.
Don't let it happen. Protect it at all costs.
Don't let that shit happen at all, okay? Let's see here. So Janelle had a good question. How do you add variety to activities / discussions / topics within the black identity groups? After a while, I think things get recycled a lot, and it decreases incentive to attend. Okay.
Well, then you guys gotta customize it to what you guys actually care about now.
Right.
For us, we had the scandal watch parties. We had the awkward black girl parties. Like, we played Monopoly in Capen. We had Thanksgiving dinners, and we had like prayer groups and meeting in Capen. We had a whole bunch of everything. We had speakers come. Like alumni come back and do talks. There was a lot that happened in Capen that was pertinent to us, and unfortunately, I couldn't go to everything. You will not be able to go to everything, but you got to do your part and go to some.
Right.
As long as they see some faces there, somebody's benefiting. As long as they see somebody who's benefiting, they can't shut it down. Because you never know what can save somebody if you take it away. So you guys gotta show out. Even if you go there and listen to the talk and you're doing your homework in this corner, you're there, right? They're counting you as a body there. They can't shut it down. You're there. You're physically there. Like events that they do recycle. You have to. I say recycle, but you guys have to find stuff that's pertinent to you guys. If it's something like you guys want to do like a wine tasting party, I don't think they're going to do that. But for example, you guys got to have the interest. You got to have the backing behind it, and you guys have to show up and do it. You can't just say, "Oh, let's do this," and not have anybody show there.
So I'll piggyback up what Dom was talking about. Yes, events. Events are very helpful. Like when my house, we had Walking Dead Sundays. We had and we would DVR the Walking Dead so we can skip past the commercials. We could what we also did was we did Christmas parties. We would always do like a once a semester banger where we just burn that shit down. Not literally, but we'll always do one party in the fall, and then we try to do a spring fling party in the spring. There was a time where we had like probably 20 to 30 people in the backyard doing the Macarena at one time. That shit was impossible, but that shit was a fucking amazing, you know. We also had Christmas parties. We always wanted to host Christmas parties. We had what else did we do? We had like Thursdays and Fridays. We would like host NBA / UFC MMA watching events, viewing events. So we would just like anything that you would regularly do, just bring people in it, and people would be like, yo, this is great. One of the best nights I ever remember having at Tufts was after a workout, me and some of our housemates, we would play Just Dance 3 from the Wii, like with the remotes and shit, right? So we played Just Dance as a cardio workout after we go to the gym. So one night, a bunch of people came over, and we started competing against each other. That shit was some of the most fun I've ever had in any, like, random night at Tufts, because it was unexpected, but it was organic, and that was the fun part about it, because we built community over the first 2 years. Junior year, people show up, people feel comfortable to show up, and now we have a bunch of people in our house just taking in the good vibe of people playing Just Dance, and now we're having a blast. You know, we're seeing people act a fool, dancing to moves like Jagger. Like, it was just a movie. It was awesome. You know, so anything that you do in leisure can be made into an event.
Side note, Rob and I used to play Tekken. I used to bash buttons. It was good. But that's how we built our friendship. You know, you gotta meet your friends where they are, and then you gotta go take it from there. Now, Rob is my bestie. Rob knows. He comes to my house. My mom calls him son. Like, you know.
And hold on, hold the damn phone. Her mom asked me for shit when I'm not even her son. She got a whole ass son at her house, and she can't ask him for shit, but she asked me for shit. You know how fucked up that is? It's out of love though, so I don't even stress over it. But go ahead. I'm sorry for interrupting.
That's funny. But yeah, so.
Alright, so what we see here. Alright, so Mamadou said, what's it called? We got international class, private versus public students, demographic of black people.
I think Katrina might know those stats, because they go through they have to go through the admissions office, I think, to get who the black students are, the self-identifying black students, to get those numbers. So I think Katrina might know, or you might have to go through admissions to know. But somebody has those numbers. That's how they get to it.
Yeah, if you can't get through Katrina, go to Dominique Johnson. DOMONIQUE, Dominique Johnson. She works at the Africana Center, and she was class of 2010. So she's an alum as well. So you can talk to her. She can get you all that information. Of course, y'all all know Dom. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. Go to her, because she's the one who has the information. You know what I mean? You ask that from her, and she can get you the information, because she's an employee at this point. She's an employee of the school. So it's on her to meet your request and get that information to you.
Can I say something real quick?
Go for it.
I think the point I was trying to come across, I don't know if it came clear in what I was texting, but it was more about, like, I know now that demographic is a bit different from when it was then, or like when you guys were there, because I got niche now. I know we have like a lot more international students. We might have more kids from independent schools, and like that changes the dynamic of how people interact with each other on this campus. So that was more about what I was asking, and how is it Because it seemed like you just were a lot more as a collective as we are like right now.
I got it. You want to take that, Dom, or you want me to go first?
Bye, Steph. Listen, I came from a PWI right in Providence. I went to a universal PWI, aka Tufts University. So for me, it was gravy. It was the same thing that I grew up in. Not everybody comes from that, but you gotta let people know. Like, if you feel comfortable, talk to people. Let them feel comfortable around you, and that's how you really gotta reach out, because somebody might go to a public school with all white people. Somebody might go to an all black school. Like people are coming from everywhere. You have to take the time to get to know people's backgrounds, because there were plenty of days, plenty of nights that I had groups of people. We were all huddled up in a room, like talking about our experiences, like, from our families to our upbringings to things that were going wrong in our lives to everything going right to what we wanted to do. Like everything, like hash those things out, get to know people in an intimate setting. That way you're able to more readily understand each other, because your experience is not the next person's experience. It benefits you when you understand somebody else. Then it makes it easier to come together and do events and do outings or have game nights, and so take the time to really get to know each other. Talk to people. Don't be hermits. Don't stay online all day. Get outside. Talk to your athlete friends, as I said, again and again and again. Talk to the people there. And there were plenty of guys, of black people who didn't really associate themselves with the black community. It happened. But every so often they came out, they showed up, because they thought, oh, there's a lit group of black people. I'm feeling like I want to be all up in it today. Every so often, like how I said, I'm kind of mixy. I can switch my group up whenever I feel like I need to. But there are people who, for the majority of their time, don't care to be around black people all the time. That's okay. But, always offer them an olive branch. If they want to join, let them. Don't shut them out just because they're not around all the time,
So, what I can say is, let's see here. What I'll say is, honestly, the best thing you can do, the best thing you can do, in my opinion, is honestly is just you worry about when it comes to who comes from where and what upbringing they came from and where and geographically where it came from and whether they came from overseas or not. Like, it don't matter where. To me, it don't matter where people come from. It just matters what you here to do, And if your goals align with mine, if your values align with mine, then we can start from there. Finding like Dom said previously, finding common ground, meeting them where they are. That is how you can start making those bonds. So there was a dude that was in our class, dude from England. Remember Dom? Tolu?
I might have said it because I was thinking it at the time.
Listen.
He was international, and he only hung out with white people and one black guy.
Exactly. This dude will be mega preppy. Like this dude was literally the Prince of Zamunda before it became popular to call this dude Prince of Zamunda. Okay, this dude will literally just walk around with white chicks around him all day, and he wouldn't have nary a black person around him. We had to go up to him, and we had to dap him up, shake his hand, whatnot. And he wasn't really cool hanging out with us, but he knew us at the very least, and we tried. We gave it our best effort, but he's someone that he felt more comfortable hanging out with who he felt comfortable hanging out with. That's cool.
Meanwhile, his best friend, his name is Sean. Sean was cool with us. Sean could jump between groups easily. Tolu could not necessarily, but Sean did. So you never know. Even if you see somebody hanging with the person that doesn't want to associate themselves, you never know until you talk to them. They will. If you show them a branch, they might take it. If they don't, it's on them. If don't feel any type of way, just keep it moving.
Right.
Keep your highs and your buys at a high buy level.
Right. And above all else, like, when it comes to extending that olive branch, never, like Dom said, don't take that shit personal. Honestly. It's never how you presented it. It's always on them interpreting it. Okay? It's never, and I'm going to say it again, it's never, like 90% of the time is not how you presented it, it's how they interpreted it. I talked to someone about this event previously, like way in its inception, and they asked me a question: why are you having this? What's the issue with the students? And I didn't present it in such a way that they could, that this kind of event resonated with them. So they decided, okay, I don't want to be on this event. And I said, okay, cool, I get it. You know, I didn't present it in such a way that it was beneficial for you to understand. But another person, Jessica, for example, Dom, for example, Kayla, for example, they just heard me, like Jessica heard me. She said, I'm in. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you have to say. I don't care what the nuts and bolts are, but I'm going to jump in because I know y'all need it. Dom, I didn't say a word about this. I barely said anything about this, but she's on the call right now, and I appreciate it. Kayla, she called me just to get some more information, but after she heard me talk, then she was like, okay, I'm in. So some people are in it, some people will be in, some people will not. Kayla, everyone say thank you to Kayla. Kayla was the first person, first individual in the room with me, hanging out with me, making me feel that I was not alone in this struggle. But, you know, jokes. But the point is that, you know, some people are going to be for you. Some people will be for the mission, for the cause. Some people will not be for the cause. Understand, it's not about you. And that's not to say that, you know, you're not important. You're important. You are important. Look me in my eyes right now. Y'all important. Okay? But when it comes to the collective is the important thing. Okay? So when it comes to forwarding along a goal, the collective takes precedence over the individual. So it doesn't matter to me, what the collective does after today, that matters to me only on if I was able to affect change to them. But if I can do better, I want to do better, because I don't care if someone says, listen, if someone emails me in 5 minutes and says, Rob, this entire thing was bullshit. You didn't say a single thing. You did not address me. You did not handle this shit. You overspoke people, and you tried to jam your opinion down people's throats. Then I'll say, you know what? Thank you, because I need to do better for the people. The people are the ones who need this to happen. The collective are the ones who need this to happen. Okay? So when it comes to anything you're a part of in life, it's the collective, not the individual. Now, you do need to take advantage, or you do need to worry about the individual, and you worry about yourself first, because it's on you to take care of yourself. It's not on anyone else, not even your significant other. It's on you to take care of yourself first. But make sure that once yourself is taken care of, then you can worry about the collective and what you're trying to accomplish. And when you're trying to accomplish a greater goal, that allows you to find bonds with other people who have that same mentality and want to accomplish the same thing. I hope that made sense.
All right, guys. I think we've done 3.5 hours now, so it's been a great talk. I think that if anybody has any last words, we can always make it happen again. But for right now, it's been a long talk, but you guys have hung in there. You've persisted. Power to my people.
Shout out to y'all.
Anything that you want us to know? Anything that you want to let each other know before we head out?
Right. Any lingering questions you have for us? And I hope that y'all can continue the conversation off this. Y'all can call each other. Y'all can hit each other up on the social media. Y'all can exchange information. If y'all could drop y'all email or y'all social media so y'all can start a group, that's great. If y'all want to email me, if y'all want to email me or email Dom, because I'll drop my email right now. If y'all want to email me and you want me to start a Instagram group and I can just invite you, and then we can make this happen. Okay. If y'all want us to start something on our end, then we can get this rolling. Then we're all for it. But when at the base of it, we are here for you. Always understand that we are here for you. Alumni are here for you, and you know these are scary ass times right now. But it's also times. These times are very turbulent. But out of the turbulence comes something great. Out of the pressure comes the diamonds. Okay, y'all. I see what y'all can be. Okay, y'all don't know, but Darwin and I can see. That's why we're here. We know that y'all can be. We know that y'all are on the way to be excellent. But that's why we're here, so that we can help you along that path, and that y'all could actualize your best selves. So, with that being said, are there any other questions that y'all may have? Anyone that has anything to add, just jump on and just speak, because I just want to know. Yvonne said, I have to go, but thank you. Looking forward to the next one. Hey, no doubt, I'm going to send it to the same Tufts groups as well as Africana Center, and I hope that if anyone has any thanks to give thanks to Ashley. I think it was Ashley who forwarded the Caribbean Student Union. She forwarded the information over to Tufts Black Jumbos, and she did a big part in making this happen. So thank you. I say thank you to her, and I say thank you to Dom and all the other alumni who joined in, because they saw the vision. They recognized that this was important, and you know they really took time out of their day to chop up game and have y'all just learn a few things. So I say thank you to everyone who was involved, and especially the students, because like y'all could be studying right now. Y'all could be watching what's that dude? That Ray dude. Life. They could be living life. That's one. They could be, what's that Netflix dude with that kill the animals?
Oh, Tiger King or whatever.
Yeah, that motherfucker. That dude could be. They could be watching Tiger King. You know, like they could be doing. Y'all could be doing a whole lot of shit, but you over here with us, and we thank you for doing that. Just so now, any other questions? Like we want to make sure that we answer the questions. That if any lingering shit, and if you want to ask us anything, in private, just hit us on IG, hit us an email. We'll give you the full-fledged answer, and we'll make it happen. Okay? Thank you for listening to our spiel for about 3 hours. It's been long, like Dom said. It's been arduous, but you stuck through it. Thank you. Best of luck in the studies. And as far as the coronavirus goes, listen, melanin is the miracle molecule. Don't be dirty.
Don't be dirty.
Wash
your hands.
Wash your ass, okay? Don't front.
6 feet away. Don't cough. Don't sneeze. Wear a mask.
No, in your sleeve. Cough in your sleeve. Dab when you cough. Okay? Dab. There you go. Dab when you cough. Do it in your sleeve, baby. Okay? Dab when you cough. Dab when you sneeze. Okay? And melanin is the miracle molecule. Y'all got it? This is going to keep us safe through this shit. So don't worry. So it's going to be scary for a few days, or a few weeks, but it will be good, okay? We're going to do this again, okay? Any questions, hit us up via the email. We'll make this happen. Mamadou, appreciate you, brother. Let's give a shout out to everyone in here. Let's see. We got me, we got Dom. We always shout each other out. Mr. Fitzgerald, Josh Fitzgerald, thank you for showing up. Hezekiah, thank you. Ray Rivers, thank you very much. Noble, thank you for showing up. Mohammed, thank you for showing up. Praise, thank you for showing up. Mamadou, listen, I respect you, brother. You already know. Kiara, thank you for showing up. Yvonne, thank you for showing up. Thank you for sticking through. very much. Thank you very much. I'm going to make this happen next time. It should happen, let's say, within the next 2 weeks. I'll send something out, and then we'll make it happen. Make it do what it do. Have a good day, y'all. All right? Peace.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Let's see. Close.